Fantasy on Better Sports Network.
Murray in an empty set, in shotgun, takes the snap, three-step drop, looks over the middle, throws, and it's caught by Brown. First down, makes a man miss at the 15, cuts right to the 10, and Brown is into the end zone for the touchdown. Hollywood Brown has been spectacular.
Fake handoff to Jones. Rodgers throws left side of the end zone. He's got it, man. Touchdown. It is the rookie, Christian Watson.
Samuel gets it. Trent Williams out in front of him. Ayuk blocking. Debo. End zone touchdown.
Nobody's having more fun than these guys. Join the party and pregame with Front Yard Fantasy on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into Pre-Gaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my wildly handsome and wildly intelligent co-host, Joey Wright. What's up, Joey?
I will agree to two of those. Some people might not, but I will. I'm having a great day. I had a good week, Thanksgiving weekend with the family. Saw a movie, spent some time with my kids and my wife. It was a great weekend. How was yours, Simon?
We get a full day of football.
Yeah,
now we get a full day of football.
This is great.
It's incredible. I had a great holidays. Got to see some family. Got to hang out with some friends. And it was a lot of fun. And now I'm ready for Week 12 action. There's no buys this week, baby. In that intro, credit to the Cardinals, Packers, and 49ers radio. And that's going to kick us off with some of the news that we need to hit on this week, Joey. Marquise Hollywood Brown, who we heard in that intro, is likely to be on a snap count this week. So we're getting news that he's back, but he's likely on a snap count. Aaron Rodgers, we're hearing it hasn't looked right this season from him, but we're hearing he's been nursing a broken hand. So keep an eye on that. Maybe that explains some of the struggles he's had. And then Deebo Samuel is expected to be back playing in this game, barring any pregame setbacks. So we get the return of Deebo Samuel. It's exciting for fantasy, right? Getting Deebo back out there, one of the most exciting players in the NFL.
Absolutely.
I'm hyped. Guys, before we get into this, it is week 12. I want to make sure everyone knows all of the important info before this week starts. So we're going to run through that real quick. First and foremost, luckily, no buys this week. We have no teams on buy, so you don't have to worry about any buy players. And we've got some fantasy superstars returning to action. We already mentioned Hollywood Brown is coming back this week, even if he is on a snap count. Juju Smith-Schuster expected to be back and playing as well. And Kyler Murray, quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, is back and expected to start. So that Cardinals offense may be looking a little bit different than it has the past couple weeks. Unfortunately, some other players are inactive. Matthew Stafford will not be playing this week, and there are rumors he could potentially be shut down for the remainder of the season. Conflicting reports on that, though. Some sides saying, yes, there's a chance he gets shut down. Other sides saying the Rams aren't considering it at all. But something to keep an eye on, that those rumors are even out there. Joe Mixon, unfortunately, will be out along with Leonard Fournette not playing this week. So if you had those guys in your lineup, make other plans. Mike Williams is also continuing to be out after he re-aggravated that injury in his debut back previously. And then Rondale Moore, wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, is also going to be out. Those are the big names. We're going to keep you updated on other players, the inactives, as they start rolling in. But those are the big names this week. And Joey, you said right before the show, man, I wish they would turn that injury slider off on this season.
It's getting a little annoying. I am glad to see Marquise Brown come back today. Sad to see Leonard Fournette out, but listen, I think this is Rachaad White big game today. It just feels like it. It felt like it early in the week. I didn't think Leonard Fournette was going to play, and it looks like he's not going to. So all systems go for Rachaad White.
I had to make the switch this morning or earlier this week. Joe Mixon took him out, but luckily I had Rachaad White right there sitting on my bench. So I'm feeling all right with him as a fill-in. That matchup is beautiful. It is juicy for him. I'm excited to see it. We got some people in the chat ready for today's show, Joey. Tommy in here saying, yo, it's Sunday. Let's go. What's up, Tommy?
Tommy?
Welcome in. And we got Al in the chat with nothing but flexes on this Sunday morning. And Matt down here saying fantasy football is fun. Yes, indeed it is, my friend. Nothing but fun. Joey, we had a question come in here over in our YouTube
Let's
chat.
go.
Albert says, good morning. What's up, Albert?
Good morning, Albert.
With Juju being back in the lineup, he wanted to know Juju or Tyler Lockett, half PPR. So Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyler Lockett, and half PPR. Where are you going, Joey?
It's still going to be Tyler Lockett for me against the Las Vegas Raiders. I love Tyler Lockett this week. I have him as a top 12 wide receiver.
Tyler Lockett. It's going to be Tyler Lockett for me as well. I don't think Juju's a bad start, but I'm with you, Joey. This is a juicy matchup for Lockett. I think you gotta get him in there. You got to get him in there. Joe, I mentioned it when running through the news really fast right there that Rodgers has been dealing with a hand injury. It says he's been dealing with an avulsion fracture of the thumb since week 5. Do you think this is partially having to do with the play we've seen this season with the Packers' struggles?
I think it's an excuse. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he's the quarterback of the team. That's the most important position, if you will. But, Aaron Jones has been pretty disappointing this year. A.J. Dillon's been disappointing this year. I don't think it all falls on Aaron Rodgers. So to say it's the Packers' troubles, no. Aaron Rodgers' troubles, yeah, I would say so.
You know what? That's exactly what I was going to say. It has been more than just a problem with Aaron Rodgers on this team, but that definitely doesn't help if your quarterback's had a broken thumb through the first 5 weeks of the season. No, and I was talking about it with someone over Thanksgiving break that quarterback position is such a difficult position to age gracefully in. Like it's easier to do it in other positions sometimes. Like you can change your role a little bit, but there's so much attention and focus, and you are the star or you aren't at the quarterback position. It can be a little bit difficult. And I'm sure these injuries as you're aging in your quarterback career just make it that much more difficult.
I have trouble getting out of bed. I turned 40 this year, and some days I'm just like, nope, not going to happen. The knees aren't going to let it happen. So, here I am sitting on a show saying, oh, Aaron Rodgers, blah, blah, blah. But, if I had a broken thumb, I'd have an ice pack on my head, my feet propped up,
I'm with you, Joey. I
like baby about it.
I like get out of bed and sprain my leg, and then I'm just like, I guess I'm not walking for the next 7 weeks. Another player that's out this week that we talked previously about was Matthew Stafford, whose concussion symptoms are improving, but he will not be playing this week. We've got 2 different reports coming out that the Rams don't plan to shut down Stafford, and then also that the Rams are uncertain whether Matt Stafford will return this season. What do you think about Matt Stafford and his return? Do you think we'll see him again back out on the field?
I mean, this situation, I don't think the Rams are making the playoffs this year. I don't think that's any secret. And let's not risk it with Matthew Stafford. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks that's played for fantasy for me since I started playing. One of the most dependable ones. I don't want to see him go out like this. Don't want to see him get would it be a 4th or a 3rd concussion this season? Yeah. I don't want to see him go out that way. Let's let him rest up. Let's let him get cleared headed. Let's get him out there next year. Maybe one more run with the Rams.
I'm with you, Joey. Don't risk it with him. You guys are not going to the playoffs anyways. And I know they're saying they don't have plans to from one of the reports, but I'm hoping that we don't see him back out on the field. It seems unnecessary.
And Cooper Kupp's out for pretty much most likely the rest of the season. Have they declared that yet? I know he could technically come back. Like
he could technically
16,
come
17.
back. Yeah.
But I don't see. I mean, what's the point of rolling Cooper Kupp out there off an injury if the Rams are completely out of it?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Joey. That just adds to it as well. Another player whose injury status we didn't update during that intro is Von Miller, who went down with a knee injury, but we're seeing that it's a wait and see situation. He's been ruled out for week 13, but wait and see is a hell of a lot better than saying he's out for the rest of the season or he's out 3 to 4 weeks. So it sounds like he's okay. He will be okay, but he's not going to be back out there in week 13. This Bills team looked a little bit beatable defensively. Without Von Miller, do you think there's a chance this defense continues to struggle?
I'm actually a little more worried about the offense, and that's kind of crazy to say, but last week was the first time Josh Allen's thrown a touchdown in the second half of a game in 5 games. And okay, it's happened once, but I'm a little worried about the offense going forth when they need to close out some games because we really haven't seen it. Yeah, they've won some games, but they haven't been up by much. The defense, I mean, I think this Buffalo defense is great. Von Miller leaving is huge wrinkle in that, and it could mess things up a little bit, but I'm honestly a little more worried about the offense, as crazy as that is to say.
Yeah, no, it's been weird watching this Bills team that like week 1, it was like this team is unbeatable. No one will beat them this season. And now there's cracks, but they also are a bit injured right now. It's not just Von Miller injury wise that they're dealing with. And Josh Allen, I think, still dealing with that injury, and it's affecting his play out there. But that being said, they're going to get healthy. And I think
they got a long layoff now.
It's still probably the team to beat in the NFL, don't you think? Or do you think maybe the Chiefs?
I think that if I had to predict the Super Bowl today on the 27th of November, I'm going to say Chiefs Cowboys, which let me tell you, the TV executives would love that. But listen, I think the Cowboys, man, they look like the most complete team in the NFC right now. And I know Eagles fans are going to come at me, fly Eagles fly, but just going by what I see.
Man, yeah, they would. The TV executives would have just like a heart attack from excitement if they got a Cowboys Chiefs Super Bowl this year. Patrick Mahomes and then the Cowboys, America's team, out there.
Are they America's team?
That's what they call them, right?
I know, but like, who is like America's team?
I mean, I would have to say the Cowboys, just because I feel like no matter where you go, you see Cowboys fans. Like I've never been somewhere and not seen Cowboys fans. Like I've been in Shanghai, China, and I'm seeing Cowboys fans walking around.
Are the Steelers more hated than the Cowboys? Because if not, I would say Steelers are America's team. Because you'll find a Steelers bar
like in the middle.
Yeah, you'll find a Steelers bar anywhere you go in this country.
And Better Boston, you're saying 49ers are going to win the NFC, not the Cowboys. What do you think about that, Jimmy G?
Listen, one of my first like football memories I really remembered loving football was a Dallas Cowboys San Francisco NFC Championship game. I was in 5th grade. I'd need to get the years on that. But I remember I had a VHS tape and I watched it over and over again because I was a huge Emmitt Smith fan living in Florida, and he was a Florida Gator. So yeah, those are my first memories. So I'd love to see that 49ers Cowboys NFC Championship game.
That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? That would be cool. We've got some people in the chat with some questions, Joey.
Let's
Dame
go.
stopping in. Good morning,
Dame.
Dame said, good morning, lovely faces. She also said in a 14-team PPR league, I need to replace Jamar Chase with Kareem Hunt, Kyron Williams, or Van Jefferson. Gross. What would y'all decide? So, Joey, Kareem Hunt, Kyron Williams, or Van Jefferson? Which way are you going?
You know, I don't like that they're playing the Browns are playing the Bucks today. I might actually go Kyron Williams on this. That Bucks run defense is phenomenal, and Kareem Hunt has not really looked that good the last few weeks. So I'm going to go Kyron Williams. It's kind of a dart throw in a way, but I'd rather throw a dart on him than Van Jefferson.
Yeah, man. It's not going to be Van Jefferson for me, and I'm tempted to start Kareem Hunt even with the tough matchup. But we've seen this Browns run game just get shut down in the past, like against a tough run defense just recently. So
our friend Laquan Jones brought up that who the Rams playing again? Sorry.
Rams have the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs have allowed 6 receptions a game to opposing running backs, and that Kyron Williams has been getting a lot of that work. That's why I was saying Kyron Williams. You might actually see him get a little work today.
I don't mind the play. Still just shocking that that Henderson is just off that team, just gone. It seems bizarre, right?
Yeah, I mean, they cut their best running back, if you ask me.
No, I completely agree. That's what it seems like. Like they just cut the best runner on their team. Now they're left with Cam Akers, Kyron Williams, and Darrell Henderson's no longer a Ram. But which one of those two backs you prefer, Kyron Williams over Cam Akers the rest of the season?
I prefer a used washing machine over Cam Akers. I just don't see anything of value from him. Like last week, I think he did actually have a couple good rushes, but man, he has just looked awful this year.
Craig in here want to know, do I start Joey on his hot streak after this morning, or is he a sit after all that activity? So Joey, are you starting or sitting yourself?
I'm sitting right now. So I'm going to stick with that. I don't really feel like getting up today.
Stick with sit. Perfect. Also, Craig coming in, Cowboys fan in the chat, letting us know the Cowboys got that nickname in 1978 from the narrator of their highlight reel, and it just stuck. It's a good nickname. And then said, if we're getting rid of dumb nicknames, Green Bay being called Titletown USA is much more dumb. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
They haven't quite earned that moniker, have they?
No. ESPN did a thing where they went around and they actually declared a Titletown. And I do not believe it was Green Bay, Wisconsin.
And I don't remember what it was. I feel like I have a vague memory of that as well.
Allenstown, Pennsylvania. I don't know why that's sticking in my head. Maybe I was just listening to a lot of Billy Joel this morning. I don't know.
We'll fact checked it. Conan here had a question for us. Wanted to know Samaje Perine, Amari Cooper, or Josh Palmer in the flex. So Joey, with Joe Mixon out, Samaje Perine's going to get the start this week. So he's expected to see extended work in this matchup. Amari Cooper, we already mentioned their matchup against the Browns or against the Buccaneers. So it's their pass defense hasn't been as scary as their rush defense, but it still may not be the world's best matchup. And then Josh Palmer with Mike Williams out is expected to see extended work again. Which of these three players are you plugging in?
Yeah, I don't mind the Palmer start, but for me, it's going to be Amari Cooper. He's looked so great this year. And for me, the reason I'm sitting P. Ryan, I'm actually sitting P. Ryan everywhere if I can, because you can pass on Tennessee. You cannot run on Tennessee. Tennessee has a great run defense. And I'm afraid even though P. Ryan's going to get the work, he's just going to be hitting a brick wall all day long. So I would sit P. Ryan if you're able to.
And I know there's expected to be rain and 15-mile-per-hour winds in Cleveland. Oh, and I see George in the chat bringing that up as well for the Bucks-Browns game. But I'm still throwing Cooper out there. I'm still going to throw Amari Cooper out there in this matchup. We had another question in here. Christopher Mays wanted to know Aaron Jones or Rachaad White, full PPR. So Leonard Fournette out. We talked about the juicy matchup. That Browns run defense is bottom 3 in the NFL. Yep. Joe, are you going Rachaad White or are you going with Aaron Jones?
It's an easy Rachaad White for me. And because Aaron Jones is going against Philadelphia, I'm just going to kind of list some names I would start Rachaad White over because he is a top 12 running back for me.
Me too.
Travis Etienne, Nick Chubb going against the Bucks. Really great run defense. James Conner, Dameon Pierce. And everyone knows how much I love Dameon Pierce. But yeah, I really like Rachaad White. I have Jeff Wilson in front of him. That's around the sandwich he's in.
Oh, Joey, you're speaking my language. Those two guys are top 12 running backs for me this week as well. I'm excited to start both of them. This week. We had another question in here. George wanted to know, since it's going to be rainy and 15-mile-per-hour winds for the Bucks-Browns game, are you still playing Mike Evans or would you switch to Dameon Pierce? So, Joey, Mike Evans or Dameon Pierce? It is a great question.
You know what? I would make that switch for Dameon Pierce. Miami's not super great against running backs. Are kind of middle of the road. If there's some weather issues going on in that Cleveland game, yep, I would make that switch for sure. Dameon Pierce, he had a really bad game last week. I think probably end up being the worst game of his career. It was 12 total touches for 17 yards. I don't think he'll ever have a worse game unless he just doesn't play. He bounces back big time today.
I think I'm still going to roll with Mike Evans. I think I'm still going to roll with Mike Evans. The weather isn't we're not talking in monsoon level rain. So hopefully they can still get the passing game going a bit. I'll start Mike Evans in that matchup, but it's super close.
Fun fact about those two. That's who I was deciding between my Black Friday jersey between Mike Evans and Dameon Pierce. Still have not decided. Both are in my card on NFL.com. So we'll see what happens.
What's it going to be? Whoever scores more points this week gets the jersey.
I need an Evans jersey. He's been with the Bucks almost 10 seasons now. And, I need an Evans jersey. He's earned it for sure for me.
He's one of my favorite players of all time, Joey. We got Moore, Cooper, and then Mike Evans is the missing piece back here to complete my trifecta of most loved receivers over the last 6 years. Martin in here said, good morning, guys. Good morning, Martin. Said on a 3-game win streak, thanks to the advice. Martin, you did it, my man.
Yeah,
congratulations on the win streak. Zach came in here with a question for us. Wanted to know DeMarcus Robinson or Treylon Burks at the flex spot. Joe, are you plugging in DeMarcus Robinson or Treylon Burks?
I'm probably going to go Treylon Burks. I do like DeMarcus Robinson. He would be the Ravens receiver I would prefer today over Duvernay, but it's still going to be Treylon Burks.
It's going to be Treylon Burks. I'm going to agree with you. It's going to be Treylon Burks for me as well. He's not a player I'm rushing to shove into my lineups this week. I want to see it again. I want to see him be on the field for a larger percentage of the snaps. But he's a rookie wide receiver. We've seen him heavily targeted over the past couple of weeks. This could be an ascension. So I'm excited to have him on the team. Not thrilled to start him, but I would start him over DeMarcus Robinson.
Yeah, I've got him in flex range right now. Not exactly wide receiver 3 range, just around borderline.
Yeah. Right there I'm starting him in a couple of weeks. And it's those kinds of decisions where you're looking at the DeMarcus Robinsons, the Zay Jones, where I'm plugging in Treylon Burks instead. Gavin wants to know, in a standard league, non-PPR, Rachaad White or James Conner? So in PPR, this would be slam dunk Rachaad White for me. This would be absolutely slam dunk Rachaad White. Now it's close since it's non-PPR. I think if this was half at all, it would be Rachaad White. In standard, I think I'll roll out James Conner. He's also got a great matchup this week going against the Chargers.
He does.
So I'll go James Conner there.
I'm going to stick with Rachaad White. One thing I do like about James Conner is with Kyler returning, I expect Conner to get all of the inside the 5-yard touches. I don't think they're going to mess with Kyler trying to run any of those in, and that'll be James Conner's time to shine. And that's where he shined last year. It's really close. I've been beating the drum for Rachaad White, and I'm still drumming a little louder than I am for James Conner.
I hear you. I like it. They're close. I'm glad one
It's
of us
close.
went one way.
It's definitely close.
Rachaad White's like one of my starts of the week, though. Like you
Yeah.
in most situations, you're getting them into your lineups. The Joker wanted to know Deebo Samuel or Cortland Sutton, full PPR. So we just found out Samuel will be playing this week, but he is dealing with that hamstring injury. It's his first game back. Joe, are you rolling out Cortland Sutton over him, or are you trusting Deebo Samuel back from injury?
No, I'm going to roll Deebo Samuel. And you know how I feel when there's a player
Yeah.
returning from injury. I kind of like to pump the brakes a little bit. But between those two, I'm going to roll with Deebo. I really saw a big week for Cortland Sutton last week, and didn't really see much from him that I was hoping to see. So, yeah, it's going to be Deebo Samuel for me.
It's going to be Deebo Samuel for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
That offense, that Russell Wilson-led Broncos offense just looks god awful. There were hopes that they would get it together, right? Like we were sitting here thinking maybe after the bye week they've got it going, but it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, it does. I can't wait for this offseason when I can really go through their games and start to take a look at like maybe what went wrong. Because there's been times where the yardage has been there, it's just the scoring's not been there, and then vice versa. So it feels like eventually something will click here. So we'll see.
I'm not holding my breath this season, though. I was earlier. I was waiting like, okay, this is the week. And now I'm just, when it happens, I'm going to be surprised. And hopefully it does happen. George in here wanted to know Juwan Johnson or David Njoku. Joey, would you be starting Juwan Johnson or David Njoku? This is in full PPR.
You know how I love when this happens. They're back-to-back in my rankings. I've gotten Njoku one spot ahead of Juwan Johnson. Both are going against tough defenses. I just like when Njoku's healthy on the field. I like the work we've seen from him a lot more than Juwan Johnson. But Juwan Johnson, prior to last week, 5 touchdowns in 5 previous games. So he's a great start as well. Both top 10 tight ends for me.
Another one we agree on. We've agreed on everything except for the James Conner, Rachaad White question so far. I'm sure we'll get some more. Yeah. But I'm going David Njoku here as well. Okay. Another question from George. You want to know Nick Chubb or Samaje Perine, full PPR? So Nick Chubb, the tough matchup against the Buccaneers. Samaje Perine, the tough matchup against the Tennessee Titans. They both got tough matchups. I'll take the one named Nick Chubb. Since they've got tough matchups. What about you, Joe?
It's a remarkably hard, difficult matchup for Nick Chubb today against the Buccaneers run defense, but that's not going to stop me from starting him. Well, I'm just coming with the tongue twisters today. I'm just challenging myself.
Stop me from starting him. I got it out 3 times fast. So fast you couldn't even hear it. Martin wanted to know Michael Carter, Christian Watson, Allen Lazard, and Deonta Foreman. Got to start 2. So Michael Carter, Christian Watson, Allen Lazard, Deonta Foreman. Got to start 2 of them. Joey, I know you were saying before the show that you just want to get some Michael Carter into your lineups. Is this a situation where you're doing it?
Yeah, I really want to start Michael Carter today. I actually found a way to get him in one of my lineups. The last time Mike White was a starter for the Jets, 4 games, he threw over 12 times a game to his running backs. So he's a check down monster, and Carter got a lot of those receptions last season. So I'm going to roll him out, Carter, and then the receivers, there was the 2 Green Bay guys, and there's one other one.
And then Deonta Foreman was the other player.
I'd probably go Allen Lazard. I hate the matchup, but between those guys, yeah.
I hate the matchup for Deonta Foreman more against the Denver Broncos. As anemic as that offense has been, the defense has been phenomenal for the Broncos. And Deonta Foreman, when they get into negative game scripts, he is not very involved in that offense. So I'm going that way. We had a question in the chat from producer Keith wanting to know any update on Jamar or Deebo. Jamar Chase will not be playing this week. So if you have Jamar Chase in your lineups, get him out, find a replacement. But Deebo Samuel will be playing this week. He's returning to action. And Joey, the news looks good, right? We're expected to see him fully playing in this game.
Yeah, I don't see any limitations mentioned like with Hollywood Brown. They're saying there's going to be a snap count. No limitations for Deebo.
Not a single one. Joey, I agree with you on that last one. I'm going Michael Carter and Allen Lazard. Christian Watson, I get it. If you want to plug Christian Watson in over Allen Lazard, I understand. The upside is surely higher. I feel more comfortable with Allen Lazard in my lineup, though. Is that why you're going Allen Lazard over Christian Watson?
It's 100% more of a comfort issue. I feel like this Green Bay passing game, if we look at it next year, say Aaron Rodgers comes back, I don't know if there's one guy that's clear cut in this offense as the de facto wide receiver number 1, which Aaron Rodgers loves to lean on. So we might see a situation like when Tom Brady was the quarterback of the Patriots without Randy Moss years, where he didn't really have a clear-cut target. So I think we might be looking more at that.
Yeah, which is fun for fantasy, right? That's what we love to see.
No, it's not.
No, it's great whenever it's like, oh, all the targets go to these two guys, and nobody else is even going to touch the ball.
I guess Brady had those years with Julian Edelman and Wes Welker, but it was like towards the end of games, and you just started checking down to them a lot. So it was a little fabricated there, I think.
Gavin in here had a question for us that I need to start 2 in PPR: Rachaad White, James Conner, Brandon Ayuk, and Devonta Smith. So, Joey, I think we're going to agree. Rachaad White locked in, right? In a PPR league, you got to get him locked in there. Who's your second one?
I'm going to lock in James Conner, too. I mean, they're really close in my rankings. I now have them back-to-back. I moved Conner up 2 spots. And the receivers, I like Ayuk. I like Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith is the surefire sit for me out of these 4. Ayuk, I got to think about a little bit, but I'm going to roll those 2 running backs out. I think they're both going to get a tremendous amount of work. They both got great matchups. So, that's the 2 running backs for me.
I mentioned earlier, I like James Conner's matchup against the Chargers this week. So I'm going to roll out both of those running backs. We had a question in here from Apostrophe, beautiful name. Najee Harris or Rachaad White. So Najee Harris has been disappointing. Who would have guessed we would be here asking this question and answering Rachaad White? It's going to be Rachaad White for me with that juicy matchup and Fournette out. What about you, Joey?
It's not even difficult. It's Rachaad White for me. Najee Harris, I have him at running back 22. That's 10 spots away from Rachaad White.
Yeah. Zahn here wanted to know, should I start Deonta Foreman over Nick Chubb? Would you start Deonta Foreman over Nick Chubb?
Nope. I'm still starting Nick Chubb.
I'm right there with you. Where about this week do you have Deonta Foreman? Because I feel like we're seeing quite a few questions there. And I'm not excited for him with his matchup against the Broncos.
I've got him at running back 30. So I have him behind a returning Gus Edwards. And you guys know how I do not like starting players on the return week from an injury. Got Gus Edwards out there. He's behind Isaiah Pacheco, Michael Carter. I do have Deonta Foreman ahead of Cordell Patterson. That Washington run defense is phenomenal too. Brian Robinson, Kyron Williams. So as far as like the RB1s on their teams, Deonta Foreman's pretty much at the end of that list for me.
Yeah. Isaiah Pacheco or Deonta Foreman?
I got Pacheco 2 spots ahead of Foreman.
Okay. That's the line I was looking at right there. Did you say Latavius Murray?
Latavius Murray, I've got it RB 25, so quite a bit ahead of Foreman.
Cool. Those were just some names I feel like are kind of in that range that might be surprising to people. But
I mentioned earlier, I would sit Perine if you have the ability to. If it's Perine or Foreman, I'm starting Perine.
Perine or Foreman. I'm going Perine as well in that case. He's getting all the work. They've both got tough matchups. And I think this Bengals offense has a better chance of keeping it close and being able to keep that run game going.
Yeah.
We had a question in here from Christopher wanting to know Olave, Evans, Debo, pick 2 full PPR. So Chris Olave, Mike Evans, Debo Samuel. Which 2 are you plugging in, Joey?
It's going to be Evans and Debo for me. I like Olave. I don't like that he has to face San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one, but I think it's going to be Evans and Debo for me as well. And the reason being, I think would you rather start Debo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk this week?
Oh man, don't make me. I'll start Debo.
Debo.
And I'm not even that confident in that but Ayuk just had the 2 touchdowns last week. So, when Christian McCaffrey came to the 49ers, Debo was the player that I was most concerned with. So I'm really going to keep a close eye on today's game. Because if they're both at full strength, I want to see what that offense looks like with both of them.
Yeah.
Because last season, Debo really made his money on that extra rushing yard work that he had. So,
like he had 1,400 receiving yards last year, but adding, what was it, like 800 on the ground or something like that will really buoy your fantasy numbers. We're getting official word right now, guys, that Justin Fields is officially out. We were expecting him to be out this week. It was all but official, but now it is official. Justin Fields will not be playing. So if you're like me and had him as your quarterback in about 70% of leagues, go make the switch in all of them.
Sit your Bears today. Start David Montgomery. That's fine if you want to roll him out there, but that's it. Don't start Darnell Mooney. Don't start Cole Kmet. Sit all your Bears.
The amount of Taylor Heineke that I am starting this week, Joey, which he's got a good matchup. I'm like, It worked out pretty well that Heineke's on the waiver wire against the Falcons this week, but that was just the guy that was on every waiver wire whenever I was going in to replace Justin Fields in all my lineups. I've got like 7 instances of Taylor Heineke starting this week. Yeah. It's a lot.
our friend Jordan Vanek is super high on Taylor Heineke this week. It's been all that I've seen out of his mouth this week.
Yeah. We have another question in here, Joey. George wanted to know, he said the Broncos offense is terrible. So is the Panthers defense a better play against them over the Colts at Steelers? So would you rather play the Colts defense going against the Steelers, or would you rather play the Panthers defense going against the Broncos?
Oh, man. I would rather play the Colts defense. This is really tricky. When it comes to a situation like this, like I normally, let me go look at my rankings, but with it being so, yeah, it's going to be Colts for me.
It's going to be the Colts for you?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the Colts for me as well. And Kenny Pickett under center is what really makes it, like, that's the tiebreaker. The Colts are such a safe and steady defense to play. Right? They're safe against the Steelers this week. Not that they themselves are a defense, but I don't expect Kenny Pickett to be able to blow anything up against them.
No.
He's not throwing touchdowns. So I would roll out the Colts D and feel pretty safe about it.
I rarely look at consensus rankings, like to judge myself to see how I'm doing. Like, okay, how am I doing against consensus? I mean, I look at it here and there, but I'm +9 this week on Matt Ryan. And I don't know if I'm just completely wrong, but the Steelers are awful against the pass. And Matt Ryan's at home. And that's when Matt Ryan's been really great this year. I'm starting Matt Ryan in my main home league this week because I lost Justin Fields. And I had the option to go pick up Taylor Heineke, and I'm still starting Matt Ryan. This game's going to be fun to watch today for me, because either I'm going to be completely wrong or I don't like to victory lap, but I'll just probably victory lap around my house privately to myself. So.
Your neighbors look outside and Joey's just running around the house.
Doing in the front yard.
Matty Ice.
I do like the ice bucket challenge for no reason, just because. Yeah.
Guys, everyone who's hanging out with us this morning, thanks so much for coming in and hanging out with us. We love it that you're here. If you've got questions for us, and I see there's some more in the chat, keep throwing them in there. We're going to keep answering these leading all the way up to kickoff. So stick around to have your question answered. Coming up today on the Better Sports Network, there is a live action watch party hangout throughout the games all day, featuring fans calling in and chatting in real time. From 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, there's Better Zone with Corey Parson, Adam Ronis, and Tom Casali. And then from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern time, we've got Better Zone with Holden Kushner and Greg Larnard. And then tomorrow morning, we're back at it again, breaking down this day's game, 7 a.m. Eastern time on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. So make sure you're sticking around here on Better Sports Network all day. Right now, this is Pregaming with Front Yard Fantasy, and we'll be back answering your questions in a moment.
See you in a bit.
Sports Network. I'm at the Gotham City Crew tailgate. Here we are with Chef Frank West. Chef, you have quite the cooking going on here today. An insane menu. How'd you come up with these ideas?
Well, the Bear fans enjoy cylindrical meat in their mouth. So some bratwurst, we have some kielbasa, we have some regular hot dogs, we have Italian sausage, we have our corn dogs, our carpet bombs. So, I mean, we can provide them whatever kind of meat they want. You know what I'm saying, Nick?
Right.
Just giving them what they ask for.
So let's talk us through the process here of making these corn dogs.
Well, I'll do one for you if you want to step over.
All right, so we're going to get a live cooking demonstration here.
I mix up the batter right here at the tailgate. I cut the hot dogs in half, and then I skewer them with a fork. Then we just roll it in the batter, right? Knock off the excess, and then just immerse it in the hot oil.
Look at that.
So after about 2 or 3 minutes, this is your finished product.
Delicious. All right, Frank. So Ring of Honor today, Darrelle Revis, he's going in.
Yeah, he is.
So your thoughts, there's been some debate on the network this past week. Is Darrelle Revis a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Absolutely, unequivocally, yes. When you look at Darrelle Revis's numbers, compare him to any of the outstanding corners in history, let's say Dion. Revis's numbers are way higher than Dion's. The problem is he hadn't had that many attempts. You know what I'm saying? Revis was targeted far less than Dion was. So when you take that into consideration, if you level it off, he's probably the best corner ever played a game until 2022.
Sauce Gardner?
Yeah, if you took Darrelle Revis and you put him in Antonio Cromartie's body, that's what we got. I mean, Revis was great, but he's what, 5'11", 6 foot? I mean, this kid is he's got all of Revis's brains, and he's just got the build. So, but let's not take anything away from the man, the island. Revis, today's his big day. Congratulations. We'll see you in Canton in August, no doubt.
No doubt about it that Frank and his crew will be there in Canton if Revis goes in. That's going to do it for now. From MetLife Stadium for Better Sports Network, I'm Nick Durst.
Now Burrow throws toward the left sideline. Back shoulder throw. Chase makes the catch. Cuts it in the middle of the field.
Bye-bye.
And the chase of Chase is unsuccessful. A 41-yard touchdown.
Who's in and who's out? You're pre-gaming with Front Yard Fantasy on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Pre-Gaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network. I'm Simon, joined by my co-host Joey, if you are just joining us. And we are here getting you ready for your Week 12 matchups. No buys, baby. And this almost feels like a second Sunday, doesn't it? Like Thursday was one Sunday of football. We had a whole day of football, one game at a time. And then now we're getting Sunday 2.0.
It does. And maybe the Thursday threw me off on the break. I was checking my lineups. And I absolutely left Justin Fields in my quarterback position in a super flex league. And Josh Allen was in my super flex spot. So I had to go out and pick up Trevor Siemian because that was the only quarterback left. I'm lucky that he was there because at least I'll get some points. But boneheaded mistake by Mr. Fantasy expert here.
Joey, I had to plug Tyler Algier into a super flex spot today. My team was just ravaged by injuries. My QB was Justin Fields. My backup quarterbacks were Baker Mayfield, and I had Carson Wentz in there at the beginning of the season. He's no longer in there. There's nothing on the waiver wire. There hasn't been a quarterback in like 6 weeks that started a game on the waiver wire. So my best bet was Tyler Algier. We'll see how that goes. Not good is how that's going to go. Not good.
Oh, yeah. It's a bad matchup for him, too.
It's not a good matchup. Real quick, before we get into the answering these questions, I wanted to make sure we hit some of these players that are not playing this week, so you guys know to get them out of your lineups if they are in there right now. Matthew Stafford will not be playing. Joe Mixon is out. Samaje Perine starting in his stead. Leonard Fournette also out this week. Mike Williams will not be playing. Rondale Moore not playing this week either. No Jerry Jeudy for the Denver Broncos. And then Isaiah Likely, tight end for the Baltimore Ravens, will not be playing this week either. So if you had those guys in your lineups, make sure you're making other plans. But good news, if you had Kyler Murray on your bench, he is expected to be back this week.
Let's go.
And if you had Hollywood Brown or Juju Smith-Schuster on your bench, they're both expected to be back, though Hollywood Brown is going to be on a snap count, is what the word around town is. Joey, another player that was announced out, a big one, maybe for him, but also for the other running back on that team, Raheem Mostert is out this week, will not be playing. Jeff Wilson was already like in my top 12 running backs this week going against the Houston Texans. It is the best matchup for opposing running backs. There isn't a better matchup in the league than the Houston Texans. We've seen Derrick Henry run for over 200 yards against them just repeatedly, and other running backs just have their way against them. Jeff Wilson is truly he's a must start for me. Like you get him in your lineups unless you've got you already started Saquon and you've got Christian McCaffrey. Like Jeff Wilson's in there.
It's similar to like the Ramondre Stevenson, where early in the season you had him on your team. If you draft him, you're like, gosh, gotta find a way to get him in my lineup. Same thing with Jeff Wilson right now. You didn't draft Jeff Wilson to start him, but you need to find a way to get him in your lineup this week because he is going to go off against the Texans.
Yeah. I'm with you. It's a must-start situation. We had a question come in here from Super C&B Challengers. Wanted to know, Pittman or Olave? So Michael Pittman or Chris Olave? Which way are you rolling, Joey?
I'm going to go Michael Pittman. The Steelers give up the most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. I said earlier before the break, I'm expecting a game from Matt Ryan today. He's at home. He's indoors. Matt Ryan's been really great indoors this year. Outside of that game against Philadelphia this season, I would roll with Michael Pittman for sure.
You're going to roll with Michael Pittman. We had another question come in here. I'm with you, Joey, on that one, by the way. Michael Pittman, it's that matchup. It's too juicy of a matchup, and those guys are close.
It's a matchup thing with Olave, too. Like, I like Chris Olave a lot. Probably one of my favorite rookies to come out this year. It's just against San Francisco. I just don't want to play him.
Yeah. Martin wanted to know, is Derek Carr a good start since I've got Fields? So Derek Carr going up against the Seattle Seahawks this week, Joey. Are you comfortable with him instead of Fields in your lineup?
I think you've got a great backup option to Justin Fields. I mean, you're not going to get as many points as you have with Justin Fields, but I've got Derek Carr as quarterback 13, so he's right outside the top 12 quarterbacks. I was just seeing with I had already taken Justin Fields out of my ranking, so I didn't know if maybe he moved into the top 12. Nope. So I would still, like, if Garoppolo or Dak Prescott's already played, Tom Brady, Geno Smith, those are the names I have ahead of them. So probably none of those guys are available on your waiver wire. So I think you're sitting good with Derek Carr.
I'm with you, Joey. Those were the exact names I was going to bring up. I was going to say, like, if Jimmy G's out on your waiver wire, I'd plug him in over Derek Carr. But if he's not, that's the only name ahead of him that I'm thinking maybe out there.
That's an interesting matchup. Jimmy G versus the Saints or Derek Carr against Seattle.
Man, I'm just riding the hot hand with Jimmy G. You know what? Like, it's not the better matchup, but that offense has been better. He's been chucking touchdowns like it's his job because it is. And then Derek Carr, that offense has not looked great, even though it's a good matchup for them. Like, it's a decent enough matchup. Oh, I thought you gave me the eyes. Like I said something like I unlocked the secret power in there.
Alert just came across. Jamar Chase officially out for this week, which we knew, but it's official now. So
we always want to get the official, right? Now it's Facebook official for Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
We weren't starting him anyways. We had a question in here from LBR. Wanted to know, who do I start? Aaron Jones, Damian Pierce, or Rachaad White? This is going to be Rachaad White for me. Joey, are you agreeing?
I'm going to put them in order. It's Rachaad White, Damian Pierce, and that other guy you said.
Aaron Jones. God, how disrespectful to Aaron Jones. No, I'm with you, though, Joey. And how weird that that's where we're at, where these two rookies are now starting over Aaron Jones fairly confidently. D. O'Neill in here had a question for us. Want to know George Pickens or Deonta Foreman? So we've already mentioned that Steelers-Colts matchup. Deonta Foreman going against the Denver Broncos in a really tough matchup. Where are you rolling, Joey?
Oh, man. This is a really, really tough decision. I got Deonta Foreman as my RB30, so we know I don't like Deonta Foreman. But the matchup for Pickens isn't that great either. Man, you know, I'm going to go with Pickens between these two just because that Denver run defense is just so good.
I'm staying away from Foreman if I can this week. Like, if there's a reasonable option, and Pickens is a reasonable enough option.
What's the over-under on this Denver-Carolina game?
It is bad. 36.5 is what it is, Joey. It's down there at 36.5.
When you see a line like that, does that make you wonder, okay, is this just going to be a rushing game? Like, are these teams just going to run all over each other?
It's going to be a punt fest is what this is going to be. It's just going to be punt, 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 punt. We're going to see 9 consecutive punts to start the game. This one sounds like the Keefe special. Our friend producer Keefe on the FYF morning show, he loves the no touchdown bet for a game. That's like his favorite bet to take. He did it earlier this season for the Thursday night game, and he won a bunch of money on it.
Nice.
This game screams no touchdowns, right? Like, this one is ugly in that way.
Yeah.
It's ugly in that way. Joey, another player that just came in off the inactives report, James Robinson is inactive this week, will not be playing. So we have that update there. Does that change anything fantasy-wise for you if James Robinson is out?
No, James Robinson's journey to the Jets this season. I think Jacksonville cut him when the time was right. So it doesn't change my love of Michael Carter. I still like him a lot as a play this week. I'm trying to get him in my lineups, but James Robinson being out, just, I wasn't factoring him in much to begin with. So
I'm with you. Maybe just slightly Michael Carter, right? Like, maybe it's just a slight boost up from Michael Carter. We had a question in here from Jomzy. Said PPR league in the flex spot, Isaiah Pacheco, George Pickens, or Deontay Johnson. Where are you rolling with this one, Joey?
It's going to be Pacheco. I think that between Pickens and Deontay, I am now like fully in the Pickens camp. I think Pickens is the best receiver on this team going forth this season and into next year. So between those two, it'd be Pickens. But then between Pacheco and Pickens, I like the matchup for Pacheco better. And I like the workload he's getting.
Yeah.
Just got to get some touchdowns, Pacheco. Please give me some touchdowns.
Just one. There's just so many people on that offense that can score touchdowns. Travis Kelce. Just let Pacheco have one or two in the end zone.
So selfish.
You bully over there.
So handsome. It's his own reality show, and now he thinks he needs touchdowns too. No, Travis Kelce.
Grow up.
Got to give up one of those things.
Grow up. Dame wanted to know Taylor Heineke versus Atlanta or Trevor Lawrence versus Baltimore. So, Joey, do you like Heineke this week enough to start him over Trevor Lawrence against Baltimore? And Trevor Lawrence, if you haven't been paying attention, has been like a top 10 fantasy quarterback this season. I don't think a lot of people have realized that he's put together a pretty good season so far.
Yeah, it's going to be Heineke for me. As far as Trevor Lawrence goes, he's had a really good season. I think he deserves to be drafted, possibly as a top 12 quarterback going into next year. But the Baltimore defense is getting better and better by the week. And I'm a big matchup guy. So my matchup sheets that I normally look at, Baltimore's still listed as like a really good matchup for quarterbacks. But if you look at the last 3 or 4 weeks, they're giving up less and less points to the fantasy quarterbacks. So I would definitely lean Heineke towards this. And I think Baltimore is a sleeper team in the AFC that no one's talking about, and they're leading their division. So you can't really call them a sleeper team, but no one's talking about them. They could easily win the AFC this season if everything starts clicking like it's starting to now.
Joe, you bring up a great point. Those like just full season numbers, especially at this point, don't always tell the story of a defense. And that Baltimore secondary, they were bleeding points at the beginning of the season, but they're just not quite looking like that same defense anymore. They look a lot better recently. So I'm with you. It's going to be Heineke. I'm fine with the Trevor Lawrence start. Like, I don't think he's going to get shut down. I'm fine with it. But Heineke's just got a really great matchup this week. I think you can roll him out there with some confidence. Daniel wanted to know, would you bench Garrett Wilson for Brandon Cooks due to rain in New York? So Garrett Wilson or Brandon Cooks, Joey? And not just rain, it's also a different quarterback under center, right?
Yeah, and Brandon Cooks, he led the team in yardage last week, did not lead the team in targets. That was Chris Moore, believe it or not, which I think is an interesting flex play. If you're desperate for someone, look for Moore. But yeah, I would go Brandon Cooks. I don't know what Mike White's going to do. I think he's going to check it down to his running backs and maybe Conklin today. That's kind of what I would see from him. He's got a little bit of a rapport with Elijah Moore, but
yeah. Lucius in here had a question. Should we go Foster Moreau or Hayden Hurst today? I'm actually going to go Hayden Hurst in this one. Foster Moreau, even though he's been playing in place of Darren Waller, he just hasn't been running the routes, hasn't been getting the targets. So I'm going to roll out Hayden Hurst in this matchup against the Titans. They're going to have trouble running the ball against this Titans team. So Hayden Hurst could see a little bit more action today. And with Jamar Chase out, I guess there's a little bit more available in that pie. What about you, Joey? Moreau or Hurst?
Yeah, I'm going to go Moreau. I mean, Seattle's the second worst team against tight ends this season. And yeah, I'm not really, you can throw on the Titans, but yeah, I'm going to stick with Moreau. I was taking a look at this because I'm like, well, these are two names I didn't really think about either or this week. Maybe I need to make a move, but I'm going to stick with Foster Moreau.
That's 100% fair. The matchup's
I don't like disagreeing with you, Simon. That's why I'm stumbling so much. It just doesn't feel natural.
Okay, Joey, we'll get back to agreement on this next question. I have a feeling. David Montgomery or Rachaad White, full PPR. Who are you starting?
David Montgomery. No, it's Rachaad White.
I was like, no, I thought we were gonna agree here. It's Rachaad White for me as well. With Justin Fields out, does that elevate or lower David Montgomery for you?
Does it elevate? I had him at running back 21. I think it keeps him there. Honestly, if Fields was playing, I'd feel a little bit better about him. So I feel like the game would be a little more balanced. And now it's just, all right, all we got to worry about is David Montgomery. It's load the box. So
give me the David Montgomery show. He'll get the volume probably, but I'm not too excited about him. I'm rolling Rachaad White out there as well.
Jets are top 10 against running backs this season.
Gross. So. And truly, the offense without Justin Fields out there, I'm nervous about it. It's going to look pretty gross. Super CMB wanted to know David Montgomery, Jeff Wilson, Michael Carter, sit one. So one of those players has to hit the bench, Joey. Is it going to be David Montgomery in that matchup against the Jets we just mentioned? Jeff Wilson with the juicy matchup against the Houston Texans with Raheem Mostert out, or Michael Carter, no James Robinson, and Mike White, the check down king, throwing him the ball. Which one of these three is hitting your bench? It's a tough one.
One of my favorite things about these, one of these like the head-to-head questions. If I'm trying to decide between Montgomery and Michael Carter for the sit, and I might like Michael Carter more because I feel like he's going to get some receiving work from Mike White because we've seen it in the past. Do I make the move to move Michael Carter above David Montgomery? And I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to start Michael Carter above David Montgomery, which is crazy because just last week I was telling people David Montgomery is a league winner. He's going to help you win your leagues. And all that it took is Justin Fields being out today to completely change that narrative in my mind. So,
yeah.
And
that
Michael Carter.
That answers Dame's next question as well. Want to know, would you start Michael Carter over Monty? Joey, you're saying yes, you would start Michael Carter over David Montgomery.
I just made the move.
Yep. There you go. I think I'm still rolling Montgomery, but I get it. There's a volume safety with Montgomery that I don't feel with Carter, but man, it's tempting. The upside is much higher with Michael Carter in that matchup for sure.
In those 4 games, Mike White, it was Ty Johnson was the other running back that he was checking down to. But I want to say that Michael Carter was okay, 2 to 3 margin that he was getting the targets over Ty Johnson.
Oh yeah, it was consistent.
Ty Johnson's still there, so it's interesting.
I bet it'll go Michael Carter's way. I'm not too worried about Ty Johnson. A. Ross in here had a question for us. Want to know, sit one in a standard league, so no PPR. Dameon Pierce, Latavius Murray, Samaje Perine, Rachaad White. Which one of those 4 is hitting your bench? The Rachaad White and Dameon Pierce are locked in for me. It comes down to Latavius Murray or Samaje Perine. Are you in the same boat, Joey?
I am. I have them back to back in my rankings, and I've got Perine 1 spot ahead of Latavius Murray. But I'm changing that.
I was just about to say, I think we'll disagree again here because I think if I can avoid that matchup against the Titans with Samaje Perine, I'm going to. And so I would plug in Latavius Murray.
I made that move a while ago.
Yeehaw! Look at you.
I don't know why it's not
past you taking care of current you. You didn't even know it. We got double Latavius Murray on that one.
Did I go Back to the Future?
I think you did, Joey.
Oh man.
Bedbugs had a question for us. It said Muth or Kittle in full PPR. So Pat Freiermuth or George Kittle. I'm rolling George Kittle out there. What about you?
I hate that you have to make this decision. I'm gonna go with my new favorite luchador, George Kittle. Thank you, George Kittle, for putting on Penta El Ciro's mask at the press conference. You are my hero. And I love me some Pat Fryer talk. But yeah, George Kittle. There's an AEW wrestler. His name's Penta. And George Kittle and him met before the game, and they exchanged a mask. And I think Kittle gave him a jersey. And then in the press conference, George Kittle came out in the Penta mask, and it was like a 49ers colored mask. It was really cool.
I completely missed that. I'm gonna have to look it up though.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Was it cooler than when I put a mask on stream?
Yes.
Damn it. Damn it, George, you're just showing me up time and time again. First, he's better than me at football, and now he's better than me at putting masks on.
He didn't even acknowledge it. He's like, "What's up, everybody?" It's like, not that he has a mask on, just just here, George Kittle.
Shout out, George.
Yeah.
We had a question in here from Mitch. Mitch wanted to know he needs 2 spots, 1 running back, and 1 flex. His options are Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson, Michael Carter, and Dameon Pierce. So Pacheco, Harris, Gibson, Carter, and Pierce. Which 2 are you starting, Joey?
Pierce and Rachaad White was one of them.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Pierce and White.
It's no, Rachaad White was not one. I apologize. Pacheco, Harris, Gibson, and Carter are the others.
It's gonna be Harrison.
So Najee Harris and Dameon Pierce.
Yes, Najee Harris and Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, that's the line with Pacheco for me as well. It's going to be Najee Harris and Dameon Pierce. Dimas wanted to know, start 1, David Montgomery, Dameon Pierce, or Devonta Smith. So is it Monty or Pierce or Smith?
Start 1.
Start 1.
Pierce.
Pierce. Yep, it's Pierce for me as well over David Montgomery. And those are the 2 I'm deciding between. Devonta Smith, not in that conversation. And Jay had a question for us. Wanted to know Joshua Palmer. With Mike Williams not playing again this week, we've seen him have extended work. Latavius Murray with no more Melvin Gordon on that team, or Dameon Pierce in PPR. So is it going to be Palmer, Murray, or Pierce?
It's going to be Pierce. I do like Palmer today against Arizona. I've got him as a borderline wide receiver 2. He's my wide receiver 25. I would start Joshua Palmer over Devonta Smith, Alan Lazard, Christian Watson, Darius Slayton. Well, he already played. Darius Slayton already played. So
if you didn't start Darius Slayton, then you're definitely starting him over.
I'm going Back to the Future. Like, do we need roads where we're going today? Because I don't think we do.
Joey, who wins the Broncos-Panthers game? That's Broncos. The one we all want to know about.
Broncos.
Wow. Go put your money on it right now. Yeah. Joey, from the future.
Where's my sports almanac? It's around here somewhere. I actually got that from Universal one year.
The sports almanac?
Horribly inaccurate. Lost so much money.
Do they sell like a future sports almanac?
Yeah, it's basically just the cover. The one that I got, it's like a journal. was like blank pages inside, but had the sports almanac cover. It's a cool little prop to have in your house.
Guys, if you're watching this and you've been doing all your fantasy prep and you think you can beat our hosts, well, this is your opportunity to prove it. Adam Ronis today is hosting a Beat Adam Ronis contest on Jock Market. All you got to do is join Jock Market and join the free $20 NFL contest 11-27 on the Jock Market app and beat Adam Ronis to be eligible to win an autographed Chris Olave New Orleans Saints mini helmet. Just click the link on the app. It should be right there below our beautiful faces and enter the free $20 NFL contest 11-27, November 27th, or click the link in our pinned tweet over at Better Network on Twitter. Beat Adam score. That Chris Olave mini helmet could be coming home with you. So we got another question in here.
Okay.
This one from Corey. Corey said, I can start one. Marquise Hollywood Brown, Treylon Burks, Brandon Cooks, or George Pickens. And he said, please help. I am torn. And I understand why you're torn. Those are some close names.
Yeah.
Which way are you rolling here, Joey?
This is a situation where I'm actually, even though my rankings say Treylon Burks, I'm actually going to roll Hollywood Brown out because if Hollywood Brown, he doesn't on a snap count. Even with a snap count, his production today against the Chargers could be so much more than Burks can put up. So I'm going to roll with Hollywood, but Burks would be my second choice.
I'm going to roll with Burks. I'm going to roll with Burks.
Okay.
I'm going to stay away from the snap count if I can. That's not saying I won't start him, but I think Burks is a good enough option, a safe enough option that I'm going to roll him out there. Though there's uncertainty with him as well. Just we haven't seen it consistently, and he is a rookie. But we've talked about it. If we can avoid a snap count for a player, then I'm going to try to avoid it. TSB in here said, howdy, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Welcome in. Said, I need a flex in a 1 PPR league. Cordero Patterson or Rachaad White. Easy Rachaad White, right, Joey?
Yep. I need to come up with a symbol for Rachaad White. Do I just do the 3?
I was about
Like
to try to
W?
do an R with my hands, and then I was like, I can't do an R very smoothly.
No, I don't know.
Be careful.
Yeah, I'm trying to I could end up flipping everyone off on accident.
That's what I was thinking over here. All of a sudden, you're just going to double middle finger up on the air.
Yeah.
No, it's Rachaad White for me. And Patterson, I'm worried about. Patterson, I am worried about. He has not been playing the snaps since he's been back. He's been buoyed by touchdowns, that kickoff return touchdown, and then the 2 touchdowns on very limited work. When he got out-snapped and out-touched by Tyler Algier 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm nervous for Cordero Patterson rest of the season.
It's not like a Taysom Hill situation limited work, but it's a nice comparison where these players that just get a small amount of work and they're extremely efficient with it, it's really hard to trust them.
Absolutely. Paul wanted to know, should he start Keenan Allen or Brandon Ayuk? I'm going to roll Keenan Allen here, I think, because Mike Williams is out. Keenan Allen looked to be back and good to go in that last game, but that's a close one. Joey, which way are you rolling here?
It's Keenan Allen for me. I like this question, though, because those are 2 names we haven't really heard much of today, especially Keenan Allen. But Ayuk, he's still a wide receiver too, but I've got Keenan Allen, borderline wide receiver 1. You know, when he's right, one of the best receivers in the game. So,
absolutely. Finn in here wanted to know Debo or Mike Evans in a PPR league. So Debo dealing with the hamstring injury, but coming back seems to be a full go. Mike Evans dealing with the weather there in Cleveland. It's expected to be rainy and windy. Are you rolling out Debo or Evans?
I'll go Evans.
You're going to go Evans? Is it the injury? Or just...
I think Evans is the better talent, and I worry more about injuries than I do the weather. When the weather is this degree, you know, like you said, it's not 30-mile-an-hour winds, torrential downpours, cats and dogs flying through the air. It's a little bit of rain, a little bit of wind. You know, Mike Evans can perform in that, no problem.
Yeah, I'm going to roll Mike Evans out there as well, and it's the concerns about the injury. With Mike Evans being a comparable option, right? Like these guys are good. I know the matchup's not, or the weather isn't making you want to slam dunk start Mike Evans, but I'm still comfortable with it. John wanted to know Miles Sanders or Tyler Boyd in a PPR league. Joey, would you roll out Miles Sanders, running back for the Eagles, or Tyler Boyd, wide receiver for the Bengals? Which one are you starting?
You know, with Chase sitting, Boyd's a little more intriguing. However, I'm going to go with Miles Sanders between those 2 options.
Yeah, I'll roll Miles Sanders out there as well. He's become a near must-start running back This Eagles offense hasn't looked like what we saw at the beginning of the season, but they're going to get it back together. They're going to be fine offensively. Connor wanted to know Keenan Allen, Christian Kirk, Alvin Kamara, start 2 of these players. So Keenan Allen, Christian Kirk, and Alvin Kamara, which 2 would you be starting, Joey?
Oh, man. I've got Kamara really low because of that matchup. I'll go with the 2 receivers.
You're going to start the 2 receivers over you're going to start Keenan Allen and Christian Kirk over Alvin Kamara?
Yes.
That is tough. That is a tough pill to swallow, though, isn't it, putting Kamara on the bench?
It is. But I've got Christian Kirk, number 13 in my wide receiver rankings, Keenan Allen 17th. So both, wide receiver 2s, Christian Kirk definitely wide receiver 1 borderline. And Alvin Kamara, like, the production just hasn't been there, and he's got a horribly tough matchup.
Yeah. I think I'm with you, Joey. It just doesn't feel good to put Kamara on the bench. Guys, coming up, we've got our friend Dave Kluge of Football Guys joining the show to help answer your start-sit questions, get you prepped for Week 12. Right now, you're listening to Pregaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network. I think we got another question in here,
okay.
Joey, coming in. We will hit one more question right here. Matthew wanted to know Isaiah Pacheco or David Montgomery. So which one of those 2 would you be starting?
I'm going to start Montgomery between those 2.
Yeah, I'm going to roll Montgomery out there as well. Guys, like I mentioned previously, you're listening to Pregaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on Better Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Better Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Obviously, you've got a couple identities here, right? And so, Lisa Ann's here. Let's talk sports. Let's talk fantasy. What about my team? What do you think about my team? Like, that's dope, man. Like that brand you have built here is huge. And over in Switzerland, you're a big deal in Switzerland. Of course you are.
In Europe, all over Europe. But when I was at the Jersey show like 2 or 3 weekends ago, my security was shocked because every other guy legit handed me his phone and said, "Yo, Lise, can you check my lineup? Can you look on the waiver wire? I got bye weeks coming up." You're right. It's really neat how my worlds have become just this synergy between, me being me and then me reaching out to all of these different people and having this common ground that now it's like we're kind of bros when we talk about sports, right? We're just friends. We're all sharing the same heartbreak or pain. Sports is the international language.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Probably every team knows that inking starting pitchers to big deals and big money agreements is bad business. But that's the business they're in. What else are they going to do? That's what it costs to play the game. And all these pitchers realize it. I'd like to sit here and say, well, you should develop your own pitching. You should never pay these guys $25 million a year. But Ray, I don't think teams can do that. It's like the pitchers have a lot of power despite their weaknesses and despite their fragility. They still have so much control over the purse strings of these teams and these GMs and these owners. They don't care, Ray. They're seeing the same numbers we are. They know Jake DeGrom, if they sign him, you pray for 130 innings. Every team knows that, Ray. They may say something different, but they know what's going on. And Ray, it won't stop them. I mean, what do you think DeGrom gets in free agency this year?
I think he'll get 4 or 5 years, and he'll get 35 a year each, right? Paying $20 million for Drew Smyly is stupid. Paying $200 million for DeGrom is idiotic, in my opinion. Jacob DeGrom has had 14 injuries the last 2 years. Like, every part of his body, it's just, and he's phenomenal. But you can't be locked in. If DeGrom makes 25 starts, 26 starts, if he throws 150 innings, you could win your division. You could win the World Series. I get it. But if he does the other thing, which is what he's done the last couple of years, your team is so hamstrung, unless you're one of like 2 or 3 teams, you can't spend your way out of that.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Better Sports Network. With Front Yard Better Sports Live with Lisa.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into Pregaming with Front Yard Fantasy on Better Sports Network. It is week 12, and we are about to be joined by our great friend and special guest, Dave Kluge. For those of you that do not know Dave, come on, but go follow him on Twitter at Dave Kluge. That is Kluge. He is the man over at Football Guys, and we are hyped to have you with us today, Dave.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, fellas. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Hope all your fantasy desires come true today.
Already did it. I'm very sad about Justin Fields being out this week. I know you as a Bears fan are probably a little bit disappointed about that as well. We've been seeing some awesome stuff from him the past couple weeks.
Yeah, immediately after the game, I tweeted out that I don't expect to see him until after the bye. I think that, it's a lost season right now. The Bears aren't winning anything. Like, he's already shown that he is the guy. There's no reason to trot him out there if he's injured. So this week, I kind of thought it was a given that he wasn't going to play, but don't be surprised if he sits next week too, and then gets that following week to rest up. So we might be going 3 weeks without Justin Fields. Anyone who picked him up off the waiver wire midseason has been riding high for the last few weeks, but might be a rough stretch here without him.
Do you think he comes back? Two of those playoff matchups got the Eagles and the Bills. Are you scared off of starting him when he comes back from injury and he's got those matchups in the playoffs?
Nah, he is matchup proof. He's going to get the points regardless. If he's out there, you got to start him. He's a top 5 QB every single time he's on the field.
I'm with you. When he had that first big game, I was saying, no, he's a great start until the playoffs. And Joey, you were pumping that up as well. Like, be careful. But he did it enough weeks in a row where I'm sitting there.
Yeah, exactly. Things changed when we saw it. Was multiple in one of my leagues, 50-point weeks in a row. Just like,
yeah. And I put that out. I wrote that in an article. I said, stash him now because he had a 3-game stretch where it was really tough matchups, and then it opened up. So I said, stash him now during these weeks against, New England and whoever else it was. And then he ended up crushing those weeks. And I said, all right, well, the guy's just matchup proof. You just got to play him if you got him now.
Yeah, it's funny. After that article Dave posted, I went out and made a trade. I've mentioned this trade a lot, right? Someone needed an RB2. And at the time, I traded Eno Benjamin for Justin Fields. And everyone's like, why are you doing that? And now, like,
robbery.
Yeah,
hot.
It is now.
Hot. We had some questions in here, Dave. I was hoping you could help us answer this morning. Sound good?
Of course. Got my rankings pulled up. Let's do it.
Yeah. Titan in here wanted to know, pick one for flex: Christian Watson, Devonta Smith, Treylon Burks, or George Pickens. Which one of those would you be starting in your flex? We don't know the format, but the names were Christian Watson, Devonta Smith, Treylon Burks, and George Pickens.
Looking at my rankings right now, it looks like I got Devonta Smith ahead of everybody. 39% target share last week without Dallas Goedert. And I know Devonta Smith has been boomer bust so far this year, but when he booms, he gives you some monstrous spike weeks. So he's kind of one of those guys that I don't ever want to sit Devonta Smith. He's going to be a big liability sometimes in your lineup where he's only going to give you a few points, but he's also could, go for 150 and 2 touchdowns any given week. So I'm going Devonta Smith here.
Joey, are you agreeing with Dave, or would you be plugging in one of these other players?
It's Devonta Smith for me.
Yeah, it's going to be a triple Devonta Smith for me as well here. Paul wanted to know Samaje Perine or Deonta Foreman. So neither one with a very good matchup. Dave, which way are you rolling here?
Yeah, I'm looking right now, and I've got these guys nearly side by side in my rankings. Samaje Perine doesn't have a great matchup, but he is going to see almost all of the touches on a team that is averaging the 3rd most points per game in the NFL. So I'm going to go with Samaje Perine here ever so slightly.
I know I said I was avoiding Perine earlier, but that I also said I was avoiding Deonta Foreman, and I'll go with the one on the better offense who's expected to get all of the touches. That Panthers offense isn't great, and that Broncos defense disgusting. It's going to be Perine for me as well. What about you, Joey?
No, it's Perine. And remember, Perine scored us 3 touchdowns last week by catching them. He didn't run them in. So, Tennessee, you can throw on him. You can't run on him. So it's going to be Perine for me. I'm avoiding Foreman if I can, and anywhere.
Jeremy in here wanted us to pick one in PPR. Superflex PPR: Kyle Allen, Deonta Foreman, Demarcus Robinson, MVS, Paris Marshall, or Van Jefferson. So in a super flex spot, Joey, which way are you rolling on this one?
Who is the yucky quarterback? Was it
Kyle Allen?
Oh God. Oh man.
One
more time with the names. Yuck. I just kept waiting for a good name to come through, and I didn't get one. It might be Demarcus Robinson, honestly. He's the Ravens receiver I prefer over Duvernay this week. So I don't like to normally start a receiver in a super flex spot, but I might over Kyle Allen.
Yeah. The other names were Deonta Foreman.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kyle Allen here.
Okay.
You're rolling Kyle Allen over the other receiver options, Dave?
Yeah. don't feel good about it whatsoever. But you know, the ceiling for a quarterback is just undeniable. I mean, we saw Mike White, who's getting the start this week. I mean, he came out last season in his first start and dropped 50 something points and surprised everybody. You're not getting that type of ceiling with any of those other options. So I'm going Kyle Allen here, even though I don't expect him to put up 50 points today.
As a general rule, will you plug in
like
any starting quarterback over any of those lower tier options?
Yeah, and I recommended that. My wife did that a few weeks ago in SFB. Unfortunately, she put Malik Davis into her starting lineup and got -8 points. But I still think the process was right. You got to go for the ceiling with the quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Scott Fishbowl is an unforgiving format for that, right? Because of how they treat quarterbacks. I'm with you, but if it goes wrong, it can go real wrong in SFB. Christian in here had a question for us. Wanted to know Christian Kirk or Latavius Murray at the flex. Dave, would you be plugging in Christian Kirk or Latavius Murray this week?
Christian Kirk easily, and I get it. You know, Latavius Murray is going to see some extra workload this week, but Christian Kirk has been putting up basically wide receiver 1 numbers this season. Last I checked, I think he was wide receiver 16 or something on the year. People are still treating this guy like he is a wide receiver 3 flex option. I mean, he has been as steady as they come this season. I feel like you got to go with Kirk.
There's a couple players that I feel like haven't quite gotten the little bump that they deserve in perception. Christian Kirk, one of them. Donovan Peoples-Jones, the names that I see him asked against, is another one. And Dave, I know you're a big DPJ guy as well, but people are not asking questions about him in the tier of names that I think they should be asking. He's another one. Him and Christian Kirk are the ones that come up the most often.
Yeah, I think both of those guys are top 24 options every single week going forward. They've been getting the target share. They're putting up production. Touchdowns really haven't been there for DPJ, but we finally saw him get in the end zone last week. I think that's just a sign of more to come. So I love both of those guys.
As we are getting an update about the quarterback situation for the Chicago Bears. Dave, have you seen this yet? Trevor Siemian hurt his oblique warming up, so Nathan Peterman will be starting for the Bears.
All right, where can I go smash the over for 6 interceptions real quickly?
Yikes!
You know what? That's fine. This is a draft pick game for the Bears, so I am all about it. Go ahead, lose this game. I couldn't care less. Improve that draft stock. They're currently projected the 3rd overall pick. I think it only gets better after today.
I'm seeing in here from one of our producers saying that David Montgomery is now the backup quarterback on this team after Nathan Peterman.
Wow.
So David Montgomery in the backup duty.
Hey.
Man.
Does that move David Montgomery up? Because if he gets some quarterback work today.
I mean, David Montgomery, I've got him as my RB13 this week. It's tough to move him any higher than that. And I'm a guy this offseason. I was fading David Montgomery, but looking at the situation now, I think he's going to see 25, 30 touches today. Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Dave, can we ask you about 2 players we've heard a lot about this morning?
Absolutely. Let's hear it.
Jeff Wilson and Rachaad White. We both have them as top 12 running backs. Where are you sitting on both those guys?
I have them at 12 and 13 last I checked. Let me double check here. I have Rachaad White at RB15, Jeff Wilson Jr. at RB9. So I am pretty bullish on both of these guys, but a little bit lower on Rachaad White. And really, it's not any disrespect to Rachaad White. This week is just bizarre with no teams on bye weeks, with multiple players thrusted into roles where they're going to be seeing a lot of touches. So for me, in between Jeff Wilson Jr. and Rachaad White, it's Ramondre Stevenson, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Dalvin Cook. It's just, it's a pretty flat among that group of running backs. The kind of back-end RB1, high-end RB2s this week, there are quite a few of them.
Cool.
100%. And it's Jeff Wilson above Rachaad White for me, but I do have both those guys as top 12 guys. I'm excited to be starting both of them. If you got them in your lineups, man, you're probably feeling pretty good today. It's the zero RBers dream, isn't it? The guys like Jeff Wilson and Rachaad White are sitting there as top 12 ranked RBs this week.
Not to mention Josh Jacobs, who you could have gotten the 9th round this offseason and still just keeps putting up RB1 numbers every week.
I have so much Josh Jacobs. I'm glad that bet paid off because I drafted him everywhere.
Josh Jacobs and Miles Sanders were guys I wanted nothing to do with. And then eventually I just had this awakening one moment where I was like, these guys are going in the 9th round. What are we doing here? And then I just kept drafting Josh Jacobs and Miles Sanders for the rest of the offseason.
And it worked out. You're pretty happy with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jacobs is someone in my main home league that I just settled for, and I wasn't happy. And another guy, the same league, was Amari Cooper. Both of them fell to me at ridiculous value. And I'm like, I don't really like these guys this season, but I can't pass up on this value. And they turned out to be 2 of the best players on my team. So
we've got JL in the chat saying hi. What's up, JL? Hope you're feeling better, my friend.
Feeling better.
And Eric in the chat saying PPR, start Rachaad White or wait and risk starting Jacobs, who may not play or get re-injured. Dave, would you be going with Rachaad White or Josh Jacobs? You did just say you've got Jacobs ranked ahead of him.
Yeah, and I'm definitely keeping a close eye on that injury. I might flip-flop them right before kickoff if we don't get any sort of certainty on Josh Jacobs. Full disclosure, this morning, Josh Jacobs was my RB6, and I've just been dropping him down, it seems like every single minute as we're not getting any certainty on this injury. So I think this is a situation right now. I do have Jacobs a few spots ahead of Rachaad White, but I think given the uncertainty with Jacobs, I think you go and put Rachaad White in.
I'm with you. I love Jacobs this week, but Rachaad White is, like we mentioned, a top 12 back for me. So I'm going to plug him in. If
Just
you've got that
officially
option,
made the switch in my rankings.
There we go. Official on air. We love an on air ranking switch. You and Joey, the guys doing that. Joey, which way are you going here? Rachaad White or Josh Jacobs?
Man, see, before the show, I didn't realize the Jacobs news was this serious. So he really might miss today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be, like I've always said, if you've got a great option to put in behind someone, play that option. And Rachaad White's an amazing option to have.
Man, I'm sitting here looking at my guillotine league with Josh Jacobs in the lineup, wondering, I hope he goes. Do I have any backups ready to go? And I've got Brandon Ayuk as a backup that I can plug in. So I think that's an all right backup, right? I don't need to go ahead and make that switch. I can just wait it out.
Mr. Humblebrag here, still alive in his guillotine league.
Oh. My first one. It's my first one. It's beginner's luck over here. But man, I've had so much fun. If you've never played in the guillotine league format, this is the most fun I've had in fantasy in the last 5 years was jumping in this league. It mixed it up. It was a fun change.
I just got chopped last week in my first one ever. And the worst part is I got chopped with $880 fab dollars left. I was just slow rolling it all season. And I was like, these last few weeks, I'm going nuts. I'm getting everybody. And then I got chopped by 1 point.
1 point. And that's the game. It's chicken, right? It's fab chicken. How long can I keep holding on to this? Because every week the waiver wire gets juicier and juicier. We had some more questions come in here. Martin wanted to know, is Kyron Williams a good pickup for my extra spot that Fields gave moving to the IR? So it doesn't have to start him this week. But Dave, how do you feel about Kyron Williams as a game day pickup to fill that spot?
Yeah, I mean, this is the exact type of pickup that you want to make on game day. You're not expecting much from him, but things can happen. Cam Akers could go down with an injury, and then all of a sudden Kyron Williams is much more valuable than he was before the game. So if you've got an extra pickup spot, I think any second or third string running back makes for a good pickup. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about the Rams here, and we're talking about a mildly unathletic rookie coming off a high ankle sprain. I don't know how high the ceiling is, but it's definitely worth a stash.
Joe, you agreeing with Dave here?
Yep. Yeah, I like Kyron Williams. I actually even like him as kind of if you have 2 flexes, I wouldn't mind throwing Kyron Williams in there if I needed to.
In that second flex, is it the receiving work that's giving you that confidence?
Yeah, I think it was it Laquan Jones brought it up that the Chiefs are allowing 6 receptions a game to running backs.
Oh,
and Williams will probably be the guy catching passes if it's going to be one of the 2 there.
I don't mean to throw you guys off the show, but I'm wondering, have you gotten any questions about Ty Johnson? Because I was going through rankings this morning. It looks like Michael Carter and Ty Johnson are the only active running backs for the Jets. And I get everyone's so enamored with the passing game right now, and Mike White is apparently the second coming of Peyton Manning. But I think we got to look at the running backs here. I haven't heard anything about Ty Johnson. And as I'm going through my projections this morning, I'm like, Ty Johnson might stumble into 12 or 15 touches today.
I brought him up briefly because was it 12 receptions a game that Mike White threw to his running backs last year?
And Michael Carter over 12 every one of those.
And some of them went to Ty Johnson was the other running back. So I brought him up quickly, but I would still rather play Michael Carter.
But you're right, Dave. That's a sneaky name. Would you be comfortable starting him this week? Is he a guy you think you can sneak into some lineups as a RB3 area, or what are you expecting?
I've got him as a top 40 running back, which isn't anything huge, but that puts him into that flex consideration where if you're, staring at some really gross options where your other option besides Ty Johnson is, Tyler Algier or Cam Akers or James Cook, I think you go Ty Johnson this week.
Yeah. Jacob in here had a question for us. Wanted to know Samaje Perine or Demarcus Robinson in that flex spot. Dave, would you be rolling out Samaje Perine in the tough matchup or Demarcus Robinson?
I'm going Perine. And Joey, I know that you were kind of on the Demarcus Robinson train a little bit. I just don't see it. I think last week was a little bit of a flash in the pan, a little bit fluky. With likely out, there could be some additional targets going Robinson's way, but I think that the floor is so much higher for Perine.
Yeah, I would play Perine. I might be on the train, but I'm in the back of the train, trying not to make a lot of noise. I'm there, but
you're not the conductor. You're just holding on to the back of the caboose.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll Perine out. here as well. Again, I'm avoiding that matchup when possible. Demarcus Robinson doesn't give me the confidence to make that possible. He's still going to get the work, even if it's a tough matchup. Gavin needs to start 2 running backs and a flex in a PPR league. The running backs he's got are Rachaad White, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, Chris Olave, and Deontay Johnson are the players we're picking from. I'm assuming Rachaad White is locked in. And then, Dave, I believe you said you had Montgomery above Rachaad White in your rankings, right? So I'm guessing
Same
you're going
tier.
Monty and White as the 2 running backs that you're starting.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson would be the bench for me in this group. I mean, I think a lot of people are still kind of enamored by the name and his production from last year, but he has just flat out stunk this season. I mean, the opportunities have been there, but we have seen a lot of like 4-catch, 30-yard games with no touchdowns from Deontay Johnson. I think he just keeps falling further down my ranks every week.
It's going to be Chris Olave for me as that wide receiver, even with the tough matchup against San Francisco. He's the dude in that offense. Like, he is the guy getting the targets, and so I'm going to keep starting him. What about you, Joey?
Yep, full agree.
Full agree. We got a full agree on that one. Sears wanted to know Samaje Perine or Brandon Ayuk this week, full PPR. Dave, so are you rolling out Ayuk over Samaje Perine? This is a close one.
This is a close one, but this is where I'm going with Ayuk. And I was just on Chris Harris's show last week, and we were talking about Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. And these guys both, like, they keep falling into the back end wide receiver 1 range for me. And it's not so much that these guys have really high floors that you can count on every single week, but there isn't a clear-cut wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 in San Francisco. These guys kind of alternate. You don't know who the guy is going to be. And, you know, both of them have pretty shaky floors, but the ceilings are there. So I'm going Ayuk over Perine.
And we're just agreeing nonstop on most of this stuff, Dave. It's Ayuk for me as well. He is playing every snap out there. No, like, it's not a secondary option. And again, maybe that's another one where perception hasn't shifted yet. He is not the wide receiver 2.
He and Deebo are like half a point per game apart from each other this season. They're putting up the same production.
It's wild. Joey, are you rolling P right now, or are you rolling out Ayuk?
Oh, it's Ayuk. I said I'm trying to find ways to sit P Ryan if I can. Like, this is not the week I really want to roll him out. And if I've got Brandon Ayuk as another option, I'm going to roll with Ayuk.
We have an interesting question from Gavin in here. So, Joey, I want to throw this one to you.
Okay.
Said, with J-Rob a healthy scratch, would you start Michael Carter over Alvin Kamara or Rachaad White in PPR? So, would you start Michael Carter over either of those 2 guys?
When I woke up this morning, I looked in the mirror and I said, I'm not that cute, and I'm not going to get that cute on this. I'm not there on that.
I think you're adorable, Joey.
Thank you, Dave Kluge.
It's tempting with Kamara, right? But I'm not doing it either. I'm playing Kamara and Rachaad White. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, same.
It's I understand it though. The matchup is a little bit scary for Kamara, but you got to just start him. You got to keep playing him unless your options are great. Swamp in here. What's up, Swampy? Welcome in, my friend. He said, in a tight end premium league, would y'all start Tyler Higbee, Hayden Hurst, or Taysom Hill? So, Dave, of those 3 tight end options, Higbee, Hurst, or Taysom, which way are you rolling? We did get news that they wanted to get Taysom more involved, right? Like, I think it was Nick Underhill who tweeted it out saying we got to get Taysom more involved.
You know, I hate giving advice on tight ends because it's just such a cluster, you know what, after the top few. I mean, really, you're just hoping that one of these guys stumbles into the end zone. And I think Hayden Hurst probably does have the highest ceiling because he can randomly rip off, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. But I think I'm going to go with Hayden Hurst here. He has been quietly very involved in the passing game with no Jamar Chase there as well. That should mean that T. Higgins starts getting a little bit more downfield, keeping that underneath stuff open for Hayden Hurst. So I think Hayden Hurst offers the highest floor here. So I'm going to go with Hurst ever so slightly.
What about you, Joey? Is it Hurst or are you going with Higbee or Hill?
No, I will never be the guy that starts Taysom Hill because I don't know when to start him.
Yep.
It's hard, but the amount of work he's getting. Yeah, he gets great production some weeks, but that was a while ago since he's done that. And then Hayden Hurst feels safest here. Without Matthew Stafford, I don't think Higbee's the same player. I don't think that's a hot take by any means. So it's going to be Hayden Hurst for me.
I just can't start Taysom Hill. I just don't. I don't like that. It's not fun for me to put Taysom Hill in my lineup because then he goes on the field for 6 snaps and you're just hoping one of them's a touchdown. And teams are starting to figure out at the beginning of the season, it looked like it was a cheat code. Just put him in, run him up the middle, 9 yards every single time. But they're figuring out a little bit. I think teams are saying, okay, beat us through the air, Taysom Hill. Like, put him in, stack the box, and see if he can beat.
Can I ask you guys a start sit question? Because I've got one
Yes.
that I am tilting on. I have this in 3 separate leagues. I'm dealing with the same exact situation, and it is Garrett Wilson or Alan Lazard.
I understand why you're having difficulty with that one. That is absolutely a tough question, especially with the quarterback situation there in New York.
I know.
I think
And weather, it's supposed to be pretty gross. And
I think I roll out Allen Lazard. That matchup is so tough against Philly. I hate starting receivers against Philly, but I think I roll out Allen Lazard just because of the unknown that is Mike White, the bad weather. I'll roll out Lazard. What are you doing, Joey?
Yeah, we talked about it earlier about Christian Watson, and like while it's great the production he's had, like I still think Lazard might be maybe not the wide receiver 1 on this team, but he's still a comfortable option for Aaron Rodgers. So I'm gonna go Lazard. That's a tough decision. I see why you're struggling a little bit with it.
That's where I am too. Just wanted a little, make sure I was making the right choice.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Garrett Wilson. It's weird. Like if Joe Flacco was starting, I would have no trouble starting Garrett Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
But Flacco's not there, and I don't know what to expect from White.
He's getting like 11 targets per game with Flacco.
What'd you say?
He was getting like 11 targets per game with Flacco to start the season as a rookie.
I wanted Flacco for fantasy selfishly. I wanted the 50 pass attempts a game Jets to come back because that was fun.
Tyler,
but I understand
type 3 tight end.
Exactly. But Jets fans very quickly let me know that they did not want Flacco to come back because I was looking at it through my fantasy tinted lenses, but they were not so happy with Flacco's performance. Jomsy in here had a defense question for us. Want to know that Ravens defense or the Eagles defense? So Eagles going up against the Green Bay Packers, like we previously mentioned. And then the Ravens, just blank on that one. The Ravens have
Jacksonville
this week. That's right.
Yeah.
So you starting the Ravens against Jacksonville, or are you starting the Eagles against Green Bay?
Ravens against Jacksonville for me.
Joey, are you doing?
I have Ravens as a top 5. I have Ravens as a top 5 defense this week. Like I said, if you look at the stat sheets, the Ravens look like, okay, they're giving up some points, but that's all from the beginning of the season. They keep getting better and better each week.
And for all the faults that the Packers are having this year, they don't turn the ball over that much. So that could be one of those low-scoring games where there also just aren't a lot of sacks and turnovers. I don't think that it's very friendly for fantasy. I think that the Jacksonville game has a much more opportunity to go off the rails and give you a big defensive performance from Baltimore.
Oh man, I love an off the rails game. I love a game that just gets a little bit chaotic. D. O'Neill in here wanted to know Tyler Higbee or Evan Ingram this week. I think I'm going to roll Evan Ingram out of these two options. Joey, what about you?
Yeah, I like Evan Ingram. And mainly because if I don't say Evan Ingram, Andrew Cooper is going to hunt me down. So I don't want that to happen. But no, I do like Ingram over Higbee.
What about you, Joey? Dave.
Yeah, it is absolutely Evan Ingram for me as well. And, not the sexiest name, but he is kind of a mainstay in that Jacksonville offense right now with them playing against Baltimore. Hopefully they're playing from behind. Don't want to project game script too much here, but this could be a decent game for Evan Ingram.
What is the sexiest tight end name? Is it TJ Hawkinson?
Greg Dulcich?
Yeah, it's got to be. Dulcich is pretty hot.
Dulcich is pretty hot.
Just the soft C with the CH is just like, it's nice. It rolls off the tongue easily.
I do like the alliteration of Juwan Johnson, though. That is also a fun
Ooh, yeah, I was looking at that one. K. Dotton. Sounds like he could carry you through the mountains. I like that.
It's definitely not Tommy Tremble.
No.
It is not Tommy Tremble. That's maybe the least sexy tight end name. Sorry, Mr. Trembles.
I know, and Joey and I, we have a soft spot in our heart for Tegan Quitoriano.
Yes.
Sounds delicious. We had a question in here from Trey. Trey said, in full PPR, I need to bench one. ETN, Jeff Wilson, or Rachaad White. He wants to roll them all out there. But CMC is his RB1, so can only fit 2 more of them in there. It's going to be ETN on the bench for me out of those, and that hurts to say, but ETN's going to be the player that hits the bench. I want Rachaad White and Jeff Wilson in there. Dave, what are you doing here?
I'm hoping that the trade deadline hasn't passed and you can, try to pull out something here because that is a tough problem to have. But I'm benching Rachaad White. I hate to say it, but ETN, he is a top 5 option for me this week, every week. If ETN's playing, the dude is just a stud. You got to go with him. And then we already had the Jeff Wilson, Rachaad White conversation. Same tier for me, but I'm going ever so slightly to Wilson. But man, that is a tough spot to be in.
Joey, what about you? Who are you benching?
My rankings go Wilson, White, ETN. So sadly, I am in order. So I'm going to bench ETN.
And the crazy thing is, I'm sure that there's somebody out there who has rankings that will say to bench Christian McCaffrey with a tough matchup against the Saints and splitting touches with Mitchell. I'm not going to, but I mean, really, all 4 of those guys are tiered pretty similarly this week.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm not going to say it either. I'm not going to be the guy who says bench Christian McCaffrey. You are not getting that out of me. on air. That is not going to be something I say.
I mean, wait a minute. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey is the only one of the four that's sharing a workload. I'm not going to say it either, but Wilson, White, and ETN are all the lead backs without really anyone behind them right now.
Yep.
I'm having to start Elijah Mitchell in a couple leagues this week. How do you guys feel about Elijah Mitchell, like rest of season? Do you think he's going to continue to have this kind of work, or is it them easing McCaffrey in?
Let me text Kyle Shanahan real quick and see what he had for breakfast this morning and how that's affecting his mood. I don't know, man. It's Kyle Shanahan. I mean, we saw a 50-50 split. I mean, more than a 50-50 split. 2 weeks ago, Elijah Mitchell got more carries than Christian McCaffrey. And then Elijah Mitchell was basically non-existent last week. So I don't know.
No idea. Yeah, I'm starting him because I have to, but he's a player I'm a little bit nervous about. We have a question in here from Edward. Edward wanted to know start 2 full PPR. A lot of these names coming up: Jeff Wilson, Rachaad White, Godwin, or Kamara. So Chris Godwin and Alvin Kamara. Dave, are either of those 2 names going in over the previously mentioned Rachaad White and Jeff Wilson?
No, I've got Rachaad White and Jeff Wilson both ahead of Kamara, and I love Chris Godwin, but I got I'm going Wilson and White out of this bunch.
What about you, Joey?
Full agree.
It's going to be Wilson and White for me as well. Jacob wanted to know Demarcus Robinson or George Pickens in that flex spot. So another Demarcus Robinson question. Joey, would you start him over George Pickens this week?
Nope. I'm starting George Pickens. I'm actually starting him in a lot of leagues by default with Allen Robinson being out. And there's a lot of players out this week. And George Pickens seemed to be the guy on my bench that ended up being the plug-in. I got him as wide receiver 3. Not really creeping towards wide receiver 2 range. I do. Dave, where do you think Pickens is as far as on the Steelers, as far as receiving targets? Do you think he's the number 1 receiver here?
I do.
And I said that earlier too. I feel like he really is the number 1 receiver there now.
Yeah. And I think the season long numbers are a little bit muddied because Mitch Trubisky really preferred Deontay Johnson. But if you look at the splits and Kenny Pickett has taken over, Pickett prefers Pickens so much more. I mean, he is the number 1 there now. So I have Pickens ahead of Deontay Johnson this week. And if I'm looking between Pickens and Demarcus Robinson, there are about 20 wide receivers in between those guys. I easily prefer Pickens here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's going to be Pickens for me as well.
Dave, Pickens sounds fun.
Pick it up Pickens. Yeah, and you're just up with the tongue twisters today, Joey. Everything you like to say has to be a potential to trip up. Dave, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us and help answer some of these questions ahead of week 2, my man.
Of course. Thank you so much. You guys have a good one.
You too. And guys, if you are not already following our friend Dave, make sure to go and follow him on Twitter. You can find him on Twitter at Dave Kluge. That is Kluge. After the name Dave, spelled the way you spell Dave. He's the man over at Football Guys, creating content and doing everything for them over there, and gives out some of the best advice. So you want to make sure you're following him on Twitter. Coming up, we are going to keep on answering your questions, run through the inactives, make sure everybody's ready to go because we are approaching kickoff, baby. We're less than 30 minutes away from week 12, Sunday action kicking off. You're listening to Pregaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on the Better Sports Network.
Durst here for Better Sports Network at MetLife Stadium. And behind me is a very intense game of toss and 10, similar to cornhole. We'll go take a closer look and speak with the competitors about how the game goes. But as you see here, they throw the ball down there, the corn into the ball hole there, and it's getting intense here. So we will talk to the competitors here real quick.
Yes.
Big Bears fan. So what's your name first?
My name's Andrew.
And your competitor's name?
Karen.
All right. So who is better at this game?
Oh, great question.
Right now, I am.
I thought I was, but my mom's now kicking my ass, and that's it can turn pretty quickly.
All right. So your outfit, incredible.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Is it inspired by Mike Ditka?
It certainly is, yeah. So my family, they're all big New England Patriots fans, and I am a Bears fan with a few other family members, and we've been to every Bears pass game for years, and basically this started about like 10 years ago, just rocking a tie and the Ditka sweater, and now it's a staple for every game.
All right, so what are your expectations for this afternoon's game?
Oh, today? All right. I'm thinking it's going to be a nail-biter. The Bears are really good at keeping it close up until the end and then blowing it for a better draft pick for next year. But, however, I think it's going to be a tight one. If Fields plays, I think Bears by 4. If Fields does not play, I think Jets by 4.
All right, and what are your thoughts on Justin Fields this season? He's having a pretty incredible fantasy season, to say the least, running the ball wise.
Oh yeah.
Not so much with the passing attempts, but he's running. So what do you like about Fields?
What I like about Fields is that he is alert and he knows exactly where our weaknesses are. He knows the offensive line right now isn't as strong as it needs to be, and he's finding wherever he needs to go out of the pocket, and he's making plays happen. Is it sustainable? No. Is it exciting? Yes. So I think in time it's going to hurt him, but we just got to find a better O-line, a better solution to get some more weapons than wide receiver as well.
All right, very excited Bears fan here at MetLife Stadium.
And that's the 5th interception today thrown by Peterman. Trevor Williams with his first of this game.
Pregaming with Front Yard Fantasy.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into Pre-Gaming with Front Yard Fantasy here on Better Sports Network. Credit to Fox Sports for the highlight in that intro right there. And guys, it is week 12. We're here getting you ready for your week 12 matchups. We're going to keep answering your questions up until kickoff. But real quick, I wanted to run through some of the highlights of what you guys need to know going into this week. No teams on bye, so everyone is available except for the guys who aren't because they're injured. And those players are Raheem Mostert will not be active this week. Justin Fields, quarterback for the Chicago Bears, out. And if you were relying on his backup, Trevor Siemian, we're getting news that Trevor Siemian injured during pregame warmup. So Nathan Peterman will be starting at quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Jamar Chase officially out this week, and James Robinson, a healthy scratch for the New York Jets. Matthew Stafford, still dealing with his concussion, will not be playing this week. And Joe Mixon will not be playing. So Samaje Perine, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals, is getting the start over there. And Leonard Fournette, another running back who's out this week, meaning Rachaad White should be getting all the work for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. Man, not a good week for injury. So many players out.
A lot.
Injured. And Joe, you mentioned Allen Robinson not playing this week either. And they've got a backup quarterback starting, going up against the Chiefs. It's ugly there in Los Angeles for those Rams. It's not looking pretty.
Not at all.
It's America's game of the week. Chiefs, Rams. I keep seeing that on TV and like
really,
I'm like, ooh, that's not the game of the week. Maybe pick a different one.
Well, speak of, never mind. I'll be nice to U.S. soccer after they drawed with England and they thought that the universe has ended and that they are the greatest, national team in the world. But I was going to say America loves mediocrity right now, apparently. If that's
it was a disappointing soccer day. I am Joe, you know this. I'm a dual citizen. I've got Dutch citizenship and U.S. citizenship.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
So World Cup time is a fun time to cheer for both of those countries. But the Netherlands they are lucky they escaped with a tie against that Ecuador team. They got outplayed the entire game, and then the U.S. tying England. It was and then Clemson lost yesterday
to South Carolina.
South Carolina. It has not been my week sports wise. It's just been like disappointing.
Yeah. Netherlands has two of my favorite footy players with Virgil van Dijk and then Jenny Wijnaldum. Like, I love the Netherlands outside of England. And I hope that's what I'm hoping is an England Netherlands final is what I'd like.
That would be so much fun. We had some more questions in here about wanted to get to. Before we hit those though, I wanted to remind everyone in this chat that today, if you think you can beat the BSN hosts, have we got an opportunity for you? Adam Ronis is hosting a Beat Adam Ronis contest over on Jock Market. So if you think you can beat him, now's your chance to prove it. All you have to do is download the Jock Market Sports app. There's a link right here in the app where you can check out our pinned tweet at Better Network on Twitter. Join the free $20 NFL contest November 27th, 11-27 on the Jock Market app. And be eligible to win an autographed Chris Olave New Orleans Saints mini helmet. Again, just click that link and join the free $20 NFL contest 11-27, or click on the link in our pinned tweet on Twitter at Better Network to join that contest. Joey, this next question coming in is asking about Zay Jones. Jack wanted to know, should I start Zay Jones or Devonta Smith?
Oh, it's Devonta Smith. Those names aren't relatively even that close in my rankings. So feel confident in Devonta Smith.
It's going to be Devonta Smith for me as well. Albert wanted to know, with James Robinson out, he's tempted to play Michael Carter over Chris Olave in his flex spot in a full PPR league. Joey, would you start Michael Carter or Chris Olave?
I would start Chris Olave. When Michael Carter outscores Chris Olave, I won't be surprised. But it's Olave.
I just feel safe in the volume for Olave.
Yep.
Olave's got that job locked up to the point where I'm not going to plug in a risky play like Michael Carter, even with the upside that Mike White presents. I just can't do it. But I get it. I get it if you want to make that move. It's not like there would be no judgment if you started Michael Carter over Chris Olave. I just can't do it. I'm going to go with the safety. Bigums wanted to know Mike Evans or Juju Smith-Schuster in a full PPR. Mike Evans dealing with that rain and win in Cleveland. Are you rolling out Juju or are you rolling out Mike Evans?
It's going to be Mike Evans.
Yeah. Juju coming back from injury as well.
Exactly.
Spubsy. What's up, Spubsy? Wants to know Trevor Siemian got hurt in warm-ups. Peterman is starting now. Is the Jets DST a must start? How are you feeling about the Jets defense going against a Nathan Peterman-led Bears offense?
I like him a little better now. I mean, I have Nathan Peterman as my last ranked quarterback of the week, and not because I just had to stick him in there, but just because of all the quarterbacks starting this week, I project he will be the worst. Sorry,
Nathan Peterman or Chris Olave in the flex.
I would probably start Olave. I know Dave Kluge was just on here saying, "Oh, take the upside of quarterbacks."
Yeah, but that was before the name Nathan Peterman
I
was
know.
involved.
I'm just saying.
That was. I mean, like Kyle Allen. Not saying that's a sexy start, but that's I'd probably rather plug Kyle Allen than Nathan Peterman, especially him finding out he's the starter like 40 minutes before the game. Know what I mean? Like that's. I'm nervous for that. Nathan Peterman, I'm cheering for you. I hope it goes well.
I do too.
But I'm not starting you. Paul wanted to know start one, Mac Hollins, Zay Jones, Deonta Foreman, or Demarcus Robinson. Which one of those would you be starting, Joey?
One more time with those names.
Mac Hollins, Zay Jones, Deonta Foreman, or Demarcus Robinson.
You know what? We've not given any love to Deonta Foreman today. I think this is where I'm going to give him some love. Between all those options, Mac Hollins is tempting, but you know, if this Denver-Carolina game turns into a run fest, Foreman will have some work. I just don't really see that happening. He does have that chance to fall in the end zone, get a touchdown. That's 6 points. That's more than I think these other options can give you.
Yeah, I don't want to start Deonta Foreman. The player that's tempting me here is Demarcus Robinson because we have seen him pretty heavily targeted in that offense the past couple weeks. But I think I'm still going to roll out Deonta Foreman in the tough matchup. You said it best, Joey. He's probably got the best chance to fall into the end zone out of this bunch, and he's going to see the work. The other work with the others isn't as safe. Zal wants to know Gabe Davis for Marquise Brown, or should I make a move for Lockett or Mike Evans? So in a trade, would you trade Gabe Davis away for Marquise Hollywood Brown, Joey?
I would because I'm not the highest on Gabe Davis. And I like the work that Marquise Brown puts in when he's healthy.
Excuse me. I'm with you. I'm making that move as well. I want Marquise Brown. I feel a little bit he'll give you more consistent output, and I don't think his upside is that much lower than Gabe Davis is. Gabe Davis, don't get me wrong, he's touchdown upside any given week. But Marquise Brown and Kyler Murray, those dudes have a connection, and I expect good things from Marquise Brown when he's back.
With Gabe Davis, it feels like either every other week it's going to be an Isaiah McKenzie or a Gabe Davis week. Like they're both going to get their numbers when you look at a season long. They'll both be drafted as decent wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3s next year. But McKenzie's getting work there too, and at some point Dawson Knox there's going to be a real squeaky wheel there with him, and he's going to have to get some work. So
I thought against the Lions was going to be the Dawson Knox.
A lot of people did. Yeah,
like this is the Dawson Knox week. Essie, and he had a question for us. What's up, Essie? Welcome in. He said, morning, guys. Need last minute advice, please. Well, you came to the right place.
Yeah.
One flex, half PPR, Deonta Foreman, Gus Edwards, Samaje Perine, Nico Collins. So Gus Edwards, a name that hasn't been in here too much so far today, Joey. Which of these would you be plugging in half PPR?
It's going to be Perine. I don't like the matchup, but with these options, we've said Perine over Foreman pretty much all day. Gus Edwards, while I like the return, I like him over Kenyon Drake today. He's still running back 29 in my rankings against Jacksonville. There is a timeshare there. Perine's not sharing at all, so it's going to be Perine.
It's going to be Perine for me as well. Again, I'm avoiding it if I can, but I don't think you can avoid Lessie. He's still going to get the work, even if it's not the best matchup for him. And Joey, you keep bringing it up. He got it done through the air last week. He got it done through the air, and that's where he found his success. And so maybe that's the recipe for him to be fantasy relevant again this week.
You're welcome, Essie. He said thank you.
You're welcome.
I like when people say thank you after we give them advice. Even if it's wrong, it's nice to say thank you, everyone.
I like it when they come in and say F you after I give them advice.
I got one guy, he on the old Twitter I put a little thing out about like if Leonard Fournette sits this week, Rachaad White is a fantastic start, a top 12 start. And he came in and he gave it to me saying Leonard Fournette is going to play this week. Way to try to make a Rachaad White start happen. And I politely went in yesterday. I was like, hey, you might want to go check to see if Leonard Fournette's going to play this week. It's a little questionable. It was doubtful at the time. I was like, I'd hate for you to have a 0 in your lineup. Have a great day.
The polite clapback
so
is the
nice.
best clapback, isn't it?
Yeah. It is.
JHI in here had a question for us. Want to know
Let's go.
Latavius Murray, Perine, or Kyron Williams? Is this another Perine for you, or are you plugging in Lat Murray or Kyron Williams over him?
It's Perine. Latavius Murray's one spot behind. They're very close.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. And then JHI want to know tight end, Foster Moreau, Greg Dulcich, Jawan Johnson, or Taysom Hill. Which one of those tight ends would you be plugging in, Joey? Is Dulcich, Moreau, Jawan Johnson, and Taysom Hill?
It's going to be Jawan Johnson. Dulcich would be second on my list.
And it's going to be Dulcich for me. Nah. Jawan Johnson would be second on my list. I'm going to plug Dulcich in. I know he's had a disappointing couple weeks, but he's still pretty involved in this offense. And the Carolina matchup is not a scary one. So you just hope that this offense can move at all. And then Greg Dulcich should have a decent game. For Band Land want to know Allen Lazard or Christian Watson. So, Joey, we talked about this a little bit earlier. You're rolling Lazard, right?
I am. I think Lazard is the safer option of these two. If you need a home run, I would start Watson over Lazard. But let's say you faced Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen on Thursday and you need to get some points here, go with Watson. Because there's a better chance he'll put up 30 points this week than Lazard. They'll probably have 15.
I feel a lot safer with Lazard. I'd play Lazard unless that situation you said, Joey. You nailed it. A question in here from Cheetah wanted to know pick 2, Marquise Brown, George Pickens, and Devonta Smith. So which 2 of those would you be starting, Joey?
It's going to be Pickens and Smith for me. Smith will be first. I realize I said Pickens' names first, but you're starting 2 of them. So, yeah.
Yep, Pickens and Smith. If you can avoid the snap count for Marquise Brown, go ahead and do it. Thomas wanted to know Cole Kmet or Foster Moreau in PPR. So Cole Kmet playing with Nathan Peterman or Foster Moreau. Joey, which way are you rolling?
This is going to be Foster Moreau. Better rapport with this quarterback and a starting caliber quarterback. And John Gruden is not coaching the Raiders anymore, so Peterman's not ahead of Carr anymore.
God, yeah, it's sad. What up, Peterman? I'm gonna roll out Foster Moreau as well. I can't start any of the receiving options for the Bears. Like, I'm just not doing it if I can avoid it with Peterman under center. We got Coop in the chat showing up. We did a prop bet draft on stream this past week on the FYF morning show. And I've been hyping up Rachaad White and Jeff Wilson as my favorite plays all week. And Coop goes in and drafts Rachaad White and Jeff Wilson anytime touchdown scores, so I couldn't have them. And so whenever they do it, my week is ruined. It can't just be positive.
That sounds like a real Coop thing to do.
Shout out, Coop. Mr. Scampers, and you're saying good morning. Good morning, Mr. Scampers. Glad to have you in here. And Noah had a question for us, Joe. He said, need to sit 1. Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen. Which one are you sitting out of those 3?
Oh, man. Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, and Keenan Allen. I'm sitting. Okay. With this weather, how much do I need to worry about this weather in Cleveland? This might be where I bench Evans just for the safety of Keenan Allen. Yeah, I'll go Cooper and Allen. It's tough.
It is very tough. It is very tough. And it's the weather that's making me question it, because otherwise it would be Mike Evans and Amari Cooper for me. Amari Cooper first, Mike Evans second in my rankings. I think that's the way I'm going to roll, Joey. I think I'm going to roll out Mike Evans and Amari Cooper, even in the rain game there. Keenan Allen just a little bit behind them. But it's tough. That's a tough question. That's a tough situation you found yourself in, but one with tough for the right reasons. You know what I mean? At least it's not like tough because you got all these bad players you're trying to decide between. Four-band Land wanted to know Christian Watson or Donovan Peoples-Jones in a PPR league. That is going to be, but it is in the weather game. I think it's still going to be Donovan Peoples-Jones for me. I feel a little bit safer with his volume. Where are you going, Joey?
I'm going to go Christian Watson on this. I think it's our first true, I really disagree with you on this one. Philadelphia's pass defense is great too, but I trust Watson over Peoples-Jones.
I hear you. Yeah, let's do a bet. Well,
animal noise.
Yeah. Animal noise next week on the show. Right. Half PPR or PPR?
Half PPR.
Okay, we'll do half PPR. Christian Watson versus Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like it.
Bets made. I always go half PPR because it's okay, middle of the road. We both, it covers all bases.
Exactly. The PPR guy won't just get a huge benefit, and then the non-PPR guy's still living right there. Martin wanted to know Lazard, Metcalf, and Watson start 2. It's going to be Lazard and Metcalf for me. What about you, Joey?
Yep, Lazard and Metcalf.
And then Super CMB Challengers coming in saying, I'm rephrasing my question from earlier. Said I need a running back 2, a wide receiver 2, and a flex. So let's start with these running backs. He's got Michael Carter, David Montgomery as the 2 running backs. Which one of those 2 would you be starting, Joey?
Monty between these 2.
Monty for me as well. Then at wide receiver, you've got Pittman, Olave, Boyd, and Mike Evans. Which one of those are you starting?
Pittman, Olave, and Mike Evans.
And Tyler Boyd is the other one.
Pittman's
got the sexy matchup. I think I'll roll Mike Evans still. I'll roll Mike Evans, but Pittman is going to be the one in the flex for me. So Pittman over Michael
Evans
Carter
in
in
my
the flex.
Okay.
So we ended up in the same place.
Yep.
Evans, Pittman, and
nice.
Montgomery right there. Mike wanted to know, who should I start at tight end? Logan Thomas, Trey McBride, or Evan Ingram? Are you plugging in Logan Thomas, Trey McBride, or Evan Ingram, Joey?
I'm plugging in Logan Thomas if he is playing. We just saw. I actually had to make the switch between Cole Kmet, and I had to look on the waiver wire, and Logan Thomas was sitting there, with his little hands extended, pick me up, and I picked him up. And I'm playing Logan Thomas this week. I have him as a top 10 tight end, actually.
I'll roll out Evan Ingram. But it is close.
Just because Coop's watching, though.
Yeah, only because Coop's watching. I'm trying to flirt a little bit. Brady did want to know Treylon Burks, Drake London, or DJ Moore start 2. So Treylon Burks, Drake London, DJ Moore. Which 2 are you starting, Joey?
DJ Moore and Drake London. The matchup for London today, Atlanta, they cannot run today. They need to be able to pass to try to win this game. So it's going to be Drake London for me.
And then DJ Moore is the second one? Or Treylon Burks?
Treylon Burks. I don't think I'm going to trust DJ Moore the rest of the season, and I took a lot of DJ Moore this year.
It's so sad, but I'm with you. With the quarterback situation there and the state of that offense, you just can't trust them. Mitch wanted to know in a half PPR league, he needs to start 1. Isaiah Pacheco, Drake London, Paris Campbell, or Garrett Wilson. Who would you be plugging in from
It'll be Pacheco for me.
Pacheco for me as well, but shout out Paris Campbell. We haven't talked about him yet on the air. I think he's a great start this week. If you are questioning whether or not you can start Paris Campbell, it's a great matchup. Matt Ryan loves him. And in the games that Matt Ryan has started since that coaching staff spoke up, he has been absolutely killing it, right? He's been getting pretty heavily targeted.
I love it when you slay me, son. Slay me. Oh, wow.
Freudian slip.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Campbell now. Wow.
I love it when you slay me, Simon.
Me,
and then what about when I sway you a little bit?
I like when you sway me too. Back and forth. Let's go to sleep.
Dancing.
It's nice.
We're dancing. Caden in here wanted to know Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper, half PPR. Where are you going, Joey? Keenan Allen or Cooper in the rain?
I'm gonna let Cooper slay me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be Cooper for me as well. But Keenan Allen's a good start. JJ Keats want to know start 2. Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave, Chris Godwin, and George Pickens. Needs to get 2 in there. Terry McLaurin, locked in, must start wide receiver against this Atlanta Falcons team. I'm expecting Taylor Heineke and Terry McLaurin to go off today. Joey, are you agreeing with me on Terry?
Terry, absolutely. And Godwin would be my next one.
Yep. Godwin next, then Olave, then Pickens. But Chris Godwin would be second for me. Another Godwin question. This one from Mordenheim. Wanted to know Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, Cortland Sutton, and Christian Watson in a half PPR league. Needs to start 2 of those guys. So the names again, Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, Cortland Sutton, and Christian Watson. Where are you going, Joey?
It's going to be Godwin and Sutton, believe it or not. I'm going to go back to Sutton. I know I spoke ill of him earlier on the show. I think he's the best receiving option for Russell Wilson, and Carolina matchup doesn't scare me very much.
It's going to be Godwin and Ayuk for me. Ayuk's going to be that second guy. Okay. I just like what Ayuk's been doing on that field. I have trouble benching him for Cortland Sutton, who hasn't done it for me recently.
I just noticed I have Sutton, Olave, and Ayuk triple back-to-back in my rankings, with Sutton ahead of both of them. So it's not far. So I can get with you on Ayuk.
You can get with me on Ayuk. You don't mind?
No, I can get with you on that.
You can handle it. It's going to be all right. Everybody listening here, we're going to keep on answering your questions for the next couple minutes, but I wanted to remind everyone that there is a full day of awesome programming here on Better Sports Network. There's a live action watch party hangout featuring fans calling in and chatting in real time. Right after this, starting at 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. Eastern time, it's Better Zone with Corey Parson, Adam Ronis, and Tom Casale. And then from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern time, you've got Better Zone with Holden Kushner and Greg Larnard. So make sure you guys are sticking around here on BSN all day for the live action watch parties that they got rocking. Joey, this next question coming in from X Diamond needed to know, I need to pick one for the flex and half PPR. Samaje Perine, Brandon Ayuk, Deonta Foreman, or Josh Palmer. Who are you rolling out from that bunch?
So Samaje Perine. One more time on the names.
It was Samaje Perine, Brandon Ayuk, Deonta Foreman, or Josh Palmer.
Ayuk could be the name from this group of 4.
Yep, it's Ayuk for me as well. Also, we're getting an update from Mike Garofalo. Bears radio media tells reporters in the press box it is a game time decision on Peterman or Simeon. So we are going to have to wait till right up to kickoff to know if it's going to be Nathan Peterman or Trevor Simeon starting at quarterback. I don't want anything to happen, but I love seeing a non-quarterback start at the quarterback position. I will never cheer for injury, but it is always like fun to see the non-quarterback have to get the start, right? To go in there and have to play under center the rest of the game.
I should have moved Trevor Simeon back into my rankings. I put him behind Peterman though, because I feel like Peterman would get the start if there was an injury.
I think you're right. Yeah,
maybe
Peterman
they're both active now. We'll see. I
Trevor
feel like both of
Simeon-
them will touch the field today. If Peterman starts, Simeon will come in at some point.
Also, our producer coming in reminding us of the Kendall Hinton game. Maybe I don't love seeing that because that was not pretty having Hinton under center for the Broncos last year.
I totally forgot about Hinton. I'm like, man, why have I heard that name before? And then someone brought it up. Yeah, he was the quarterback. I'm like, oh my God, that week. Yep.
One more question real quick, Joey.
Let's
Let's
go.
hit this. Higbee or Gesicki? Who would you be starting?
That'll be, I'll go Higbee on this just in case there's a lot of checkdowns.
I'm going to go Gesicki. I just don't trust that Rams offense with Bryce Perkins under center. And then Jacobs or Connor? Josh Jacobs or James Conner?
I like Jacobs better, but with all this uncertainty in the news, I would go James Conner. Last I saw, though, that they expect Josh Jacobs to play. And I think you'll have the choice of going up to game time to decide this. So if Jacobs plays, roll Jacobs. If he doesn't, you know what to do with Connor.
They're so close, and with the uncertainty around Jacobs, that I'm just going to roll James Conner out there. He's got a great matchup. He's another top 12 kind of start, so I'm fully comfortable throwing him in my lineups. Everybody who joined us here this morning for Pregaming with Front Yard Fantasy, I want to thank you so much for taking the time, spending your Sunday morning with us. We hope you had a fabulous holidays, and it's going to continue because Week 12 is kicking off ever so shortly. Get your fantasy lineups ready. Get ready to beat your league mates. Start talking that trash right now. And stick around here on Better Sports Network. Like I mentioned, 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. You've got Better Zone with Corey Parson, Adam Ronis, and Tom Casale. And then from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern time, Better Zone with Holden Kushner and Greg Larnard. Live action watch party. Stick around, and we will see you guys next week. Adios, everyone.
Bye, everybody.